It's Mortgage One Studios. Russ Clark back with you, and Dean's here.
Glad to be here too.
Yeah, it's 6:03. We made it.
Oh,
Yeah, we used to get on. We used to go on 3 after anyway.
Yeah, it used to be that way
Yeah,
because of the station ID and everything.
You didn't get any top of the hour news. It's your fault though.
Of course.
You know, I end up talking to you.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Of course, you don't have to be here for me to make that mistake, but I'm blaming you when you are.
That's fine.
It works out.
I can take the blame.
All content presented on the Russ Clark Show, including statements made by guests, commentators, and callers, reflects the personal opinions of those individuals and is provided for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views do not represent the official position of Mortgage One Studios, its owners, employees, affiliates, or partners. Mortgage One Studios does not endorse, verify, or guarantee the accuracy, completeness, or reliability of any statements made by third parties during programming. That being said, you can say whatever you want now.
Right.
You know, not that you're completely covered, but I guess legally, maybe. I don't know.
Well, Mortgage One is covered.
Yes, they're covered.
So,
as they should.
Of course, I try to be careful and correct in my statements, but we're all fallible humans.
Yes, we are.
At least as far as I know.
Some more than others. Let me see. I did get the opportunity to do a little research, though.
Good.
Did you watch the game last night?
I did not.
I don't either. I didn't watch it. Occasionally I'll go to a basketball game or watch a basketball game. I may not enjoy the events when I go, but
yeah.
It's not something I spend a lot of attention to. But Trump does.
Yeah.
Trump has been a basketball fan for years, apparently. And when he was in New York, his favorite team was the Knicks, and he would be on ringside all the time, down ringside, down the courtside all the time. So he went to this game. Did you know that?
I had heard he was going.
Now this is the finals. The Knicks are up for a championship run for the first time in many, many years, and this is the first finals played in Madison Square Gardens since I think 1999 or something like that. It's been a long time since they've had that. So of course Trump wants to go.
Right.
The Knicks are ahead 2-0 in the series.
Okay.
Best out of 7. So that's a good run, good start.
Good start.
They're coming back home to Madison Square Gardens, and Trump wants to be a part of it. Which
was there mass protest in New York? No Trump here?
I don't think it was mass, but there was always going to be some in New York. They hate him. And Mandani went to the same game, and he wanted to make sure he sat as far away from him as possible. Now that's just good. Why would you even say that? Why would you even do that? Why take that opportunity to say that stuff? Make that statement. But he was up in the box with the owner, James Dolan. So he got the VIP treatment.
Trump.
Yeah. Which I think he would need that for security reasons, for Secret Service. You can't put him down on courtside. I think he lost that seat being president. That'd be kind of tough to watch.
Probably the most consequential president in the last 100 years.
Mm-hmm. Which means somebody's going to try to kill him again.
Yes. Unfortunately.
And we need Secret Service to make sure they keep him safe. We need to keep him safe as best we can. So to do that, they actually put fencing all around Madison Square Gardens, closed off streets.
Wow.
Like it was a parade or something. Or, when I went to the convention in Cleveland years ago, they did the same thing. Streets were closed off. I mean, it was very secure. It was like what? No one got in without airport type screening, and there were snipers on roofs. You name it. It was well secured.
And that's what the Democrats did in Washington, D.C. after the 2020 election.
Oh, no, they didn't. I'm thinking of J7. They didn't do it. They didn't.
It was afterward.
Oh, they didn't bring the National Guard.
Pictures. We have chain link fencing all over the place.
Oh, because there was insurrections going on.
Well, that's what they claimed.
I know that was all for show. In fact, the National Guard coming to D.C. on J7 was for show. They wouldn't let them come because they don't like the optics. As soon as it was contained, because the police chief brought in the Baltimore police because they couldn't get the National Guard, then it was contained. And when it was contained, they brought the National Guard in.
As I recall, Nancy Pelosi was very clear that they only wanted blue state National Guard there.
I don't know exactly what it was. She just kept blocking it.
And it reminded me so much of the political coup d'etat that you saw in other nations.
Yeah.
Because you have a change of guard, and then they lock down the Capitol so that nobody else can get in there, and it just looked like that.
Well, it did. But anyway, the Knicks was like that. They put in the fence, but I kind of like it. Make sure if you're at the game, you're safe. Not going to be any cars burned on that street if they win. Of course, they didn't win; they lost. But it was good, and he went with his granddaughter, Kai Trump.
Oh yeah,
And she's been, I guess, very popular.
Yeah,
people like her. She's well spoken. She spoke at the convention even.
I wonder how her isn't she the one that was learning Chinese?
I don't remember.
In the 2016 campaign, I
mean,
remember
her name's Kai. Why wouldn't she learn Chinese? She should. Sounds Chinese.
Well, I don't know why she would. I know why she would. I don't know if she has.
It sounds familiar, but I can't
Chinese is an important part of international commerce now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, Trump is not new to going to these kind of events. He's been the first president to go to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Now he's the first president to go to a championship NBA game. A lot of firsts for Trump. First president. First president's had 3 attempted assassinations. Although some say it's been a half a dozen now because they're counting the ones where somebody tried to break into Mar-a-Lago and he wasn't home.
And there have been some shootings at the White House, which are sort of half-hearted.
But he's not there. Yeah, half-hearted, but still people got killed.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying they're inconsequential. I'm just saying they were not very serious attempts, or they were attempts by people.
They weren't well researched,
right? That's probably the best way to look at it.
Somebody got home.
And most of the assassin types seem to have some form of mental derangement, which is not unusual, but some of them are very, very functional.
You only know that because they write it down.
Yeah, they have a manifesto. You read the manifesto,
and you're like, wow, this person needs some help.
Exactly. And frankly, it appears to me to be a fairly common phenomena on the left, is that they just are not as well grounded in reality.
Right. So let me ask you, since we're off topic, I'll just go there. But on these assassination attempts, there's been suggestions that particularly the one in Pennsylvania, the guy was obviously had a lot of trouble in his life. And there's been suggestions that he was approached by someone else that encouraged the attack. And I guess if you were trying to encourage someone to do an attack, approach somebody, you'd go after someone that was not completely of sound body and mind, or had issues.
As I recall, he sort of dropped off the radar there. A lot of people were saying you need to investigate him.
And they stopped.
He's got these phones. He's got this. It looks like he has had help. I mean,
and they said he had no presence on social media, which is a red flag.
Very odd today.
Yeah. But they found out that he did. It was just on gaming.
Yeah. So
through gaming and stuff he was doing so.
To me, when I read some of the accusations, the association that leapt into my mind was Antifa. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but it struck me that his profile kind of fit that.
Maybe. So, I don't think he's ever been.
So we don't know, and he's pretty young.
We haven't seen that.
But
I was just curious because that guy seemed to be a little different than some of the others.
I thought he was, and of course he came very, very close. Literally millimeters away from killing President
Trump. Took out part of his ear.
Yeah, just and to me it looks like divine providence. Trump turned his head at exactly the right moment.
Trump is making that same claim, actually.
Yeah, he has.
And he's not what I would call a real religious guy.
I would not call him a devout.
No,
but I think he's become more devout.
Yeah. And we've had some like Charlie Kirk, who was very devout.
Yes.
And a lot of they killed him for it.
Yes, that's pretty clear what happened.
Yeah. Well, anyway, getting back to Madison Square Gardens. Security fans, Secret Service, all that. But during the national anthem, which was sung beautifully, by the way. A lot of times I cringe because someone wants to put their own touch on the national anthem, and then it sounds like something not the national anthem. But anyway, very well sung. And he was standing up and saluting as president. Do they always salute the presidents? I don't think so. I remember Barack Obama just put his
I
hand
don't
on his heart.
recall. I don't recall anybody mentioning it much.
Lots of cheering going on, which a surprise. Now I listened to it a few times. It sounds like some will say it's a mixture of boos and cheers.
Okay.
You would expect all boos. I mean,
well, it's New York.
Part of New York is like 90%, Democrat.
Right.
But and he didn't win New York.
No.
I mean, he lost New York, city.
Right.
And he helped build the skyline.
Right.
And he was popular.
He was very popular in New York.
Up until he came down the
until I think he was still fairly popular. It was when he started becoming a serious candidate that he lost popularity.
That's what I mean. Coming down that escalator was the tipping point. Like he's
maybe.
a Republican coming down the escalator. We can't talk to him.
Right.
But he was surrounded by grandchildren, waved to the crowd. Lots of cheering. Some say, some booings mixed in there too. But then there was a lot of USA chants, which for New York City to have new USA chants.
Remember, these are diehard Knicks fans.
Yeah.
And there are people there from the other side too, I'm sure.
Well,
who were they playing?
I think was it.
So
San Antonio. I thought it was Texas.
So you probably had some Texans there too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. And they would be more the cheering.
And the Texas went for Trump in a big way.
Yeah. So,
but I would expect the Texans to be a minority because it's just a lot of trouble and time to go
and
to
money.
New York.
Those
and
tickets,
money, right? Yeah,
I understand some of these tickets are going for tens of thousands on the the market. A seat, black market stuff. I don't know if that's even legal.
It's a question. There was some kind of court decisions about that not long ago, but I don't remember which way it went.
But Trump has attended the Ryder Cup, the Daytona 500, the Super Bowl in New Orleans. He goes to college football national championships. I mean, he's really out there and he does a lot of that stuff. And the first for some of it.
Yes.
And yet he got torched by Stephen A. Smith. Do you know Stephen A. Smith?
No,
who he is?
I don't.
He's a very interesting guy. I like him. He's like the #1 ESPN guy.
Okay.
Very aggressive. I like listening to him. He's very intense. Every time he talks, it's very intense. And he started flirting around with being president like a year or so ago.
You mean that he might run for president?
Run for president. He says,
okay.
Said I should take the job type stuff.
Well, good for him. Go for it.
I'm sure. Well, he was at the game also. He didn't have Secret Service yet.
Right.
But he thinks that Trump shouldn't have gone. In fact, Stephen A. Smith says Trump had no business showing up in New York for Game 3, and the president attending would create unnecessary chaos around one of the biggest Knicks games in decades. And he would blame Trump if the Knicks lost. But he also said that he would not give him credit if the Knicks won. How do you think he feels?
Stephen
A. Smith. Yeah. How do you think of it?
Yeah, his
he's not a fan?
Clear.
Yeah. Now, Trump spoke with reporters after the game, which he always does almost.
Sure.
If he's around, he's going to talk to reporters.
Yeah, the most transparent of any president.
Well, they asked him about Stephen A. Smith, of course. He says, I think he's a nice guy, but you need a certain attitude to run for president. You need a high IQ. I'm not sure that Stephen has that. I don't think he does, actually. Now, does Stephen deserve that? Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I'd say
so. He deserved that.
I mean, and it's well understood. I mean, anybody who has watched Trump understands. You attack him, he'll attack back.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh.
He doesn't just sit and take it.
See, I just think it's all hilarious myself.
I thought it was kind of funny, too.
Yeah. Smith said he'd already made it clear he did not want Trump at Madison Square Garden at the game, which is a little hubris, isn't it? I mean, is that like it's his decision? I already said I don't want him here.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he owns Madison Square Garden.
Despite Trump's appearance making him the first sitting U.S. president to attend an NBA Finals game, Smith had no interest in Trump setting historical precedents.
Yeah, well, that's his opinion. He can have his opinion.
Yeah,
it's not my opinion.
He started. He's flirting with that 28 presidential run himself. I mean, I think it's just for.
It works for him.
And I
Get
think
some
it's
attention.
attention getter. He says he's more likely. I mean, Smith is more likely to demand the Secret Service will allow him to sit courtside than he is to sit in the White House and watch the game on the air. If he were ever to be president, that was pointed out. Like if you became president, you're still going to be here because he doesn't miss those games. He said he would expect to see Smith at every NBA final game, Madison Square Garden, possibly every game in the entire season, because that's just who he is. Smith wants to be taken seriously as a possible president candidate. And he also wanted to blame the actual president for going to one of the biggest sporting events of the year, something Trump has done throughout his presidency. Arguably, no president in history has been as visible.
Well, and Trump has done this his entire life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, they showed some clips of him when he was a young man at courtside.
Yeah.
Actually running the cameras and doing all kinds of stuff. And the players coming over talking to him.
Right.
I don't think the players talk to him anymore.
I don't know.
Not very many.
I mean, it's a career risk in New York.
It is. I think so. But this article sometimes says Trump didn't pull any punches. Smith has become one of ESPN's most powerful personalities by knowing exactly how to get attention. He's loud, dramatic, political, he wants to be, and almost always aware of the moment. Trump is the same way.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like he's learned from Trump.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe he would make a fit. If he wanted.
I don't see him as.
If you want to be Trump,
he might. Maybe he'll be a contender on the Democratic side. Is he trans?
I guess he could be long. And I mean, if he, if he started focusing on it now,
is he black? I mean,
yes, he is black.
Well, there you go. I mean, that's good. That's a good start for a Democrat.
He's a minority. But you're right. The trans would give him an extra.
That'd give him an extra bump up.
Yeah, for the Democrat Party.
That's what I'm saying, of course.
Yeah, well, I don't think the Republicans.
He's not going to run as a Republican.
I don't think the Republicans care.
There you go.
Whatever. Can you do the job?
Well,
it's meritocracy.
Right. Yeah, the Republicans are big on meritocracy.
Yeah. Can you do the job? But that's the requirement.
But that would be a bump up for him. So, maybe if he starts showing up at places with a
but honestly, when
boyfriend,
when Stephen A. Smith starts talking, though, I do listen. I mean, I do find him entertaining.
There you go.
He's very powerful, very dramatic. He's all that. So I've enjoyed it. And he's not afraid to say anything, which sounds like very much like Trump.
It does.
I don't know if you saw that interview the other day he did when he stormed out of Meet the Press.
I read about it. I have to admit, I didn't see it.
Well, I finally went back and looked at it. I talked about it yesterday with Kristen Welker.
Yeah.
She should just be stripped of her credentials. Why is it that they can't see this, that the same commentators that do the interviews and stuff, if you put a Biden interview and then do a Trump interview, where's the difference? I mean, the softballs were crazy from her
for Biden.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Making excuses, whatever. And with Trump, it's just no holds barred. Take the gloves off.
How can I get you to say you're evil?
And just challenge him. Tell me, oh, that's not true. There's no way. You have no evidence. You have no evidence. That's not true. You have no evidence. Would she have done that to Biden? Of course not.
Not at all.
No. But they don't see it within the bubble.
Right. Correct.
They don't see it. They don't understand.
Well,
like, how can you think I'm not biased? I'm biased.
It has taken me a while to realize this, but on the left, they're not introspective. They don't apply the same standards to themselves that they do to other people. And so, well, of course we treat President Biden better. He's a good guy.
Exactly. They justify it, and Trump's a Nazi.
Of course, we don't treat President Trump the same way. He's a bad guy.
Yeah.
And they just make these decisions, and of course, it essentially comes down to, if you agree with me, you're good. If you don't agree with me, you're bad. And it's a very juvenile way to look at the world.
Yeah. Who was the 60
Minutes?
It's
very leftist.
Who was the 60 Minutes guy that was just fired?
I've read the name.
Scott Pelley.
That's it.
I really haven't watched him because 60 Minutes went away a long time ago, and
right.
And Nick Shirley does the 60-minute job now.
Yeah, I think
by
you
himself.
are exactly correct.
Yeah.
Nick Shirley with a couple of helpers
Yeah.
is the modern equivalent of 60 Minutes, because people are so much more sophisticated now, and they have so much more information at their fingertips, and the technology has become so advanced that you don't need a multi-million-dollar per month setup like 60 Minutes to do the job. It's a couple of guys with a couple of cell phones, maybe a camera.
But I've watched some of the interviews and some of the stuff since he's been ousted. And I am just surprised about the overall smugness and arrogance.
Well, that's those are trademarks of the journalistic left, which is most of the old dominant journalists.
They asked
You
him,
didn't get there if you didn't have a certain point of view that was wanted.
They asked him about, did you expect this type stuff? And it was it wasn't even on his radar. Absolutely not. I mean, how could that? He didn't say this, but I mean, how could that station survive without him? I mean, it was just,
wow.
But he didn't say that. That's not his quote. But she said, well, how emotional was it for you? He says, it's like having your spouse murdered.
Wow. Does he have a spouse?
I don't know. I don't know. Having your spouse murdered.
Yeah, well, and this kind of makes sense if you understand.
Because it was everything to him.
Right. His whole life was there. That was it.
That's who he was.
And that's really not very uncommon on hugely successful people. They often invest so much into the job they're in.
Well, and all the trappings that go with it. You're going to get recognized at restaurants and get a favorite VIP treatment or something.
Yeah, this seems to be this celebrity status seems to be something very highly valued on the left. Well, a lot of people value it, but personally, I always thought
he was bigger than the show. He thinks.
Yeah,
he was bigger than the show.
Yeah.
And he thinks that
they can't survive without him.
That new general manager should just be fired.
Yeah. I mean, most people, I think probably around 75% of the country look at that and say, wow, what an arrogant person.
I think so. I can't imagine them not thinking. Of course, I don't live in that bubble. I don't know that.
Right.
But it very well could be. But he was.
I mean, that was my initial thought.
You
really think the world can't survive without you?
He was ridiculously thinking, he did nothing wrong. He was, and he was like, it's an attack on journalism.
Yeah, it reminds.
I am journalism.
Yeah, it reminds me of Fosse. Science.
Yeah, I am
That's
science.
Me. I am science.
Yeah. So he felt he was protected by the First Amendment or something.
I suppose. I mean,
it's not him that's protected. It was the industry.
Well,
but he's got a boss that can fire him, and then you're supposed to move on to another job. But he doesn't even think that way. His spouse was murdered.
I really wonder. Now, people who are at this level are usually fairly smart, usually quite smart. So
he would have to have some intelligence. But
did he invest? Did he save up some of his incredible salary?
I don't think that matters. I don't care if he has millions of dollars. It doesn't matter.
Well, it matters to his lifestyle.
No, but it doesn't matter to his ego.
No, maybe not.
Look, you notice how many senators get to be 70, 80, 90 senators? Do you think they really need the money?
No, not at that point. They don't need the money. They crave the power.
It is power. And you have like a senator, you probably have 35 assistants that will be called 24/7 if you need them. You could pick up the phone at midnight and call one of your guys, say, I need you to get over here. I got to make a trip.
Absolutely.
I got to help me get dressed or something. It's just,
who knows? I mean, it's all there.
I've heard of generals doing that in the military. I can't remember. It was on one of the movies I saw or something that one of his Patton's aides or something would help him put his jackets on and stuff like that.
Well, aides are responsible to make sure generals' uniforms are correct, the shoes are polished, all this other stuff.
Right.
I mean, and
so
that's the way it works.
So if you lose that job, who's going to help you get dressed? Where you're going to be lost. It's not the money. It's not the money.
It's the power.
Yeah. Why do you think these senators stick around?
It's the status.
Look at McConnell. I don't even think he knows he's there, but he's not leaving it.
McConnell?
Oh, he's in a wheelchair now. He's really
gone downhill fast.
Oh, he's pretty bad. He's just there to spite Trump right now. They've had a falling out. He's voting against Save America Act. He's voting against.
Oh, yeah, he did. I saw that and I went,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You know, it's like you've got something that the vast majority, 4 out of 5 people in the country think is a good idea and should be done. And
It's more than
it's
4 out of 5.
really hard to understand why people oppose it and they're against it. I mean,
well, you got Tillis who hates Trump right now.
Yeah, I mean, so this
and
is
then
it's
McConnell
crazy.
who hates Trump, and then Collins and Murkowski who just don't know who they are.
Oh, I think they understand their political positions, and you know.
So they're still Republicans.
I mean, Murkowski
I understand
is a product of that.
I understand Collins more than Murkowski.
Yeah, well, Collins is a product of that ranked choice voting, where the political class in Australia changed the rules so that she would be in.
Murkowski is ranked choice also. In
I thought that's what I said. Didn't I say Murkowski?
You said Collins.
Oh, I was wrong. Then it's Murkowski.
Well, no, Maine, is very liberal state. And she's a Republican, gets reelected.
Yeah, right.
And
Trump understands that. He's cut her some slack.
Yeah, but not Tillis.
No,
Tillis is just angry. Trump, because Tillis has not been loyal. Tillis is not supported.
Well,
and he lost his primary, so he's out.
Right, Cornyn as well.
Yeah,
in Texas.
And they're just giving up on doing anything for the country. This is retaliation.
It's just so and what's the point? I mean, I
don't know.
Does this gain them credit somewhere? Or somebody? I mean, they've got lots of money.
I think McCain was like that at the end. McCain.
Absolutely.
He just hated Trump.
See, I'm just.
That's why
you're much more friendly with McCain than me.
I like him, but
he
changed.
He probably had a very gracious personality, but he was just bad for the country, in my opinion.
I think he made mistakes at the end for sure.
Well, definitely.
Yeah. And that thing against Trump with keeping Obamacare was strictly just to screw up Trump,
which is
not give him a win. It's like he thought he should have had that job, not Trump. He should.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there was that, but I mean. So you screw over the whole country because you have a personal disagreement with the president?
Yeah.
That's just petty.
Yeah. Well, this Kristen Welker, I think, at the end of the thing, he walked out.
Yeah, I heard that he had.
And Welker was begging him to stay.
Well, if she'd acted better, he would have.
Well, it was like, I traveled all the way to Wisconsin.
Oh, the horror.
Yeah. Like, who would go to Wisconsin? Jesus. She said, I sat in the rain with you for an hour, is what Trump said. On and off in rain, and I've given you enough time. You ought to straighten out your press, because you know what? A country could never be great with a dishonest press.
I love it.
And she said, your elections are crooked, and you're crooked, and Meet the Press is crooked. So it's ABC, CBS, CNN. And that's what
I love it. Because I think probably, maybe not 75, but maybe 65% of the country agrees with him on that.
Right. And he just said, thank you and goodbye. I'm out of here. Good for him. Why does he do it in the first? Well, I think I know. Why do you think he does it in the first place? Go to someone like Kristen Welker, who he knows is going to be a jerk to him. Why?
Well, I think that for one thing, it shows the world how insane the other side is.
Probably. I think he also, I mean, just like he campaigned in California and stuff, knowing they hate him, or some do.
Yeah.
But he wants to win. He wants to be president for everybody.
Sure.
I think he wants. He wants to reach everybody, and he wants to reach every audience.
Now, I don't know if you're ready, but are we going to talk about what's going on in the California election now?
Okay. I could be ready. What's going on?
Well, I have to admit I have not studied this, so I cannot say the numbers are perfect. But apparently, the person who was in third place, that Pratt had won a runoff position. It appeared by the end of election night that he had. Well, now that all the other votes are coming in afterwards, I hear 40% of them are going to the person who was in third place, and she has now overtaken Pratt for second place.
So what do you think of that?
Well, to me, it's obvious cheating.
That's what Trump is saying, that it's obvious.
I mean, to me, it looks like Yeah, you have somebody who was in third place by a substantial amount,
Yeah.
was in third place by a substantial amount in the polling beforehand. And at the end of election night, she was in third place by a substantial amount. But when all the late ballots start coming in, amazingly, she goes up to such an incredible lead that she's able to squeak in at second
Well,
place.
and amazingly, so many votes went to her, but not to Bass.
Yeah. Right.
Which was, I like, what? And they're investigating it, but I talked a little bit about this yesterday. Yeah, Trump's team's going to investigate it. The attorneys for the federal attorneys are going to investigate and all that stuff. I don't think they'll find a damn thing.
I don't think they can.
They
way
can't.
the election system is set up in California,
Yeah,
anybody can register. You don't need ID to do so.
No, you don't.
In fact, they frown on you showing any ID.
And you can register on the day of.
Not only that, but you can register. You could then go to someplace else and register again with a little different name.
Probably.
And you could do that for like 20 or 30 times.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, they could have more than 100% of the vote turnout.
I think so. And they send out these mail-in ballots
to everybody.
To everybody.
Including if you don't live in the state.
And so that's like, how many for, what would it be? 5 million ballots in the city of Los Angeles, maybe?
Here is the theory that's been put out there. And I don't know how they catch this or how they prove it. But you're right. The way it's set up, you can't track it down and knock on a door and say, do you live here? Because all these are done at shake of a hand or, trust me.
Well, right. And there's no ID required.
No ID required. And you can register to vote from a blank lot that has a toilet on it.
Yes, right. And that's, by the way, that's nationwide.
Is it?
Yes. It's a Supreme Court decision. I looked at this, 20, 30 years ago. And they said you cannot deny the vote to somebody just because they don't have a fixed address.
How do they get their mail-in ballot?
Well, a lot of them would have post office boxes or they have general delivery.
Which just goes to the post office. Now,
right.
The theory is that they have NGOs that go around to these apartment buildings and everything and collect these ballots that are left unattended.
We have seen some of that happening. In the 2020 election, we had some video of it.
And then they hold them to see how many are needed to swing a vote because you got a month to get it done. You can turn them in.
Right.
Late.
I don't know. I don't know how late you can turn them in.
Well, I think it's got to be 10 days. I think if it's postmarked, it should be.
And are they still collecting from these drop boxes? At what point do they stop collecting from the drop boxes?
Supposed to stop that, I think, on the day at that night, at that evening. But they're still coming in from other sources.
Yeah.
And some maybe not, some maybe not legal. I don't know. They even report there was a helicopter that landed and unloaded some stuff. I don't know where it came from. But the theory is that these NGOs are calculating based on early results and where it's going on how much they need for which opponent to pump in there. And they've got 7 days to get that done.
See, I would have to look into the mechanics of that. I mean, I had similar thoughts, but you'd have to look at the mechanics of it.
And that's why it's going to be hard.
I don't see any easy way to validate that the cheating went on.
But that's right. And if somebody goes in to say, okay, you cheated, let me see your records. There's no records to look at because there's no addresses.
Right.
There's no signature verification.
Or you have, 100 people.
There's no chain of custody.
Or
Harvesting's legal.
Yeah, 1,000 people that are registered at a church, for example.
Yeah. Let's take a phone from Gilbert. Good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. 2 things, Russ.
Yeah.
First of all, on our reporting, our 60 Minutes and our old reporters, you remember what happened to Walter Cronkite when he exposed the Vietnam War and how we weren't winning it because the way we were fighting it?
I remember him doing it. I don't remember anything bad happening to him.
No, he didn't.
Oh, yeah. He got slapped around by some of the media. Oh yeah. They started criticizing him.
Okay. I was younger then. I don't remember that.
He revealed long after he retired that he was a lifelong communist.
Yeah. Well, he was one of those quiet ones, I guess.
Yeah.
But I do know
very, very clearly.
But when he exposed the way we were fighting the war, it was not winnable.
Yeah.
Well, that's the fiction he put forward. He declared that we had lost the Tet Offensive when, in fact, we had won it decisively. And he is credited by many as the person who basically won the war for the Vietnamese, the North Vietnamese.
You see, I just brought it up, and it says that the broadcast that you're mentioning is 1968 when he said it reached a stalemate, and he continued anchoring until 1981, and he transitioned into documentary hosting, radio commentaries, writing, and become increasingly vocal advocate of world peace, environmental protection. But I don't see anything in here he was beat up. But I mean, it doesn't. You know, it's a short thing.
He was the most trusted man in America at the time.
Right.
Was he right about the stalemate?
Well, it's a matter of some
Did we
contention.
win?
He may have
we
created the
win?
stalemate. I don't know.
Right. I mean,
Oh, come on.
Well,
To me,
1968 was early on, but yeah.
well, it was, that was
It was very high casualties, 68, 69.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And we had the Tet Offensive going on, which
Yeah,
happened. It was
yeah.
was this a
And
major.
we fought the 10th offensive with our arms, our hands tied behind our backs.
I don't know on the Tet, but afterwards, there was much more pressure to get out of Vietnam, and eventually we did, and we, Nixon negotiated an agreement, which the Congress then broke after Watergate.
Yep. Yep. Anyway, I thought I'd bring that up. And
Yeah.
you're talking about the fraud. How about is that 270,000 ballots still in Arizona haven't been counted?
I don't.
I don't
Arizona?
know. Arizona or
I mean California.
California.
Arizona. Arizona.
I don't
Arizona.
know. In which
All the ballots in Maricopa, they said they found some more ballots. So
From
here
the
we're
last
talking about
election?
California.
Wow.
Yeah, one of the elections. The last one. Anyway, all the ballots they found in Maricopa, and we still can't go to court and fight these
No.
so-called
well, when you have
ballots they found.
the Attorney General, who's very much on the other side.
Well, what I'm getting at here, we're talking about California. We have our own problems in Arizona.
We do.
We're not solving.
We
We're not solving what happened in Arizona. We're talking about California.
Well, there's a lot of people who are working on the Arizona problem, and we have an election coming up, and maybe we can get a different Attorney General and a different governor, and that would go a long ways.
That's what I'm getting at. We're having the same problems in Arizona as California because the Attorney General, Secretary of State, yada yada yada. We're having the same damn problems. So we need to clean up our backyard before we try to clean up California's front yard.
Well, I don't think we're as far advanced as California in corruption, and I don't think we need to stop pointing out the problems in California. We can do both.
But shouldn't we solve ours?
Well, it's not easy to do. If I had a magic wand that I could say solve Arizona's problems, I'd do it.
Same thing in California. If you had
it's very hard.
Wand,
It's
yeah,
absolutely hard.
That's what I'm getting at. We're talking about California. We haven't solved Arizona's, and it's been how many years?
I agree with you. I mean, we're not as bad as California. We have better laws than they do, but we're not taking care of it. We're cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I tend to agree.
What's worse, a lie or a white lie? It's still a lie.
It's just a lie.
Right?
It's always, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Here we're talking about California. We haven't figured out our own nastiness.
Yeah, but we need to do both. I'm all in. I mean, yeah, I know the federal government's taken some voting records from Arizona and are going through them. And I think with Arizona, you can find stuff because we have to show ID because you have to have addresses, and they can research. Can't research California.
Right. We have
we have the IDs and all that. We have all that in place. Correct? What you just said.
Yes, yes, and so they've got something they can research. Yes,
they've been researching it for how many years now?
Doesn't matter. The courts wouldn't take it. They didn't have standing. All that kind of stuff existed when Trump, was suing and stuff. Everything was thrown out. No standing from the judges. It's going to be different now, and we'll see. We'll see.
We'll see. Anyway, like I said, here we're talking California. Arizona has its own problems, major problems.
Yeah, I'm still going to talk about California too, though.
All right, later on, man.
All right,
Bye.
man. Bye. Yeah, we can do both. And California's problems are embedded in the laws now that don't allow you to really find anything.
Right. And I think talking about California is kind of a warning for us. Don't
Yeah.
go there.
Yep. We need to have it. But of course, California can claim we're clean. No fraud's ever been proven.
Yeah, right.
We're so good at setting it up to where, fraud is going to be expected that you can't find it. You're not going to find it.
I was
There's no
listening to
records.
Victor Davis Hanson was talking about this, and he was saying, well, or maybe it was Newt Gingrich. Anyway, one of them was saying that the machine has become so powerful in a lot of the blue cities.
Yeah.
The political machine is so powerful. There's so many entrenched interests that
Yeah.
benefit from it. And there's so much money involved that it's almost impossible to break the
But
machine.
so was Florida in a lot of respects. A lot of areas like Miami and stuff was so entrenched and so
were.
crooked, and it did take some time. But DeSantis was able to root it out finally
He was.
and
he-
change stuff
He won his first election.
barely.
It was a squeaker. It was really close.
Yeah.
So, but I look at what's happening with the election for the mayor of LA, and I go, wow.
And it's in plain daylight.
It is.
It's like there's no shame. We're going to do it right in front
It's
of you.
almost like we're going to show you have no power.
Right. Right. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
So why do you bother voting?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what the final results are going to be, like how many people actually voted versus previous voters and all that stuff. And it's going to be like Biden. Biden got so many more votes than anybody in the world. I mean, in the United States history, and Trump beat that record. That's during the same time.
Right.
Biden just got more than that.
Right. And I don't know if that's the way it'll work out in this LA election,
Don't know.
because if it works as people are alleging, that the powers that be in California, the political machine in LA, looks at what is happening and say, okay, how many ballots do we need to create? How many
Yeah.
do we need to push into the
Right.
system to
And-
win? Well, then they probably will arrange it so they just win by a squeaker.
And they'd be smart to do so.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want it too obvious. And I think that's why they stretched this thing out so long,
I think probably you're correct.
because Florida does it the same day. You don't have a lot of time to sneak anything
And
in.
around the world, you just don't see other places where elections are
No,
are
not like
stretched
this.
out for weeks.
No.
Just doesn't happen. And because it allows a lot more potential for cheating.
India does 650 million people in one day with paper.
Yeah.
And gets the results. Let's talk to Carl. Good morning, Carl. Carl.
I've got Bluetooth problems or something, maybe.
I don't know. I think Carl's got a problem.
Could be.
Occasionally he'll do that where he won't have his
The mic will be muted or something.
yeah, he'll have his Bluetooth hooked up. Well, one time his wife started the car.
Oh, and cut
And-
everything out.
Well, it took his Bluetooth into the car so she could hear me.
Yeah. Well, so
He couldn't hear me.
well, he'll
Yeah.
probably call back.
That's pretty funny. Vance, you know Vance's job right now, JD Vance.
Well, he's vice president.
Yeah, but he's got some other duties they've assigned to him.
Yeah. Wasn't it one of the things was looking at some type of financial
Fraud.
corruption?
That's
Yeah.
it. Let's try Carl again. Good morning, Carl.
Good morning. Do we make it this time?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I hear
you
you
know,
loud and clear.
Well, the first time was operator error on this end.
No,
Go ahead.
no. I thought it might have been my new Bluetooth radio that did it.
All right.
Anyway, from what I understood, the voters of Yuma put David Laura in the recorder's office to help straighten around the voting. And the first thing that the county board of supervisors, they took it away from him.
Well, they took away
And,
just part of the voting, but yeah, he still has a job. He still has a lot to do, and he's very influential, man. He's doing a good job.
Yeah. Oh, hey, he's doing a very good job.
I
But
like him.
with the part that he really wanted to be in there for, the county board of supervisors took it away from him.
As far as the voting, the actual voting day. Yeah. He's
Yeah.
still
So-
integrated into it, but
Yeah, I don't
Sure.
think they can't take everything from him.
and you know, because it's on
Right.
state statute and all that stuff.
Right.
But he did all the cameras recently. You know, he got all the cameras, which he got some heat for, because people in Yuma didn't want cameras on the voting boxes.
Why wouldn't they?
That's a great question. Privacy.
They're
Alinsky's
just
gang
dropping
didn't
off
want it.
ballots.
I think privacy. It was in the newspaper. People were complaining about it.
I mean, there's cameras everywhere now.
Yeah, but they don't want them on the voting boxes. Someone might see me walk in the library.
I have a hard time understanding why they would not
Yeah.
want that.
Well,
I mean, you're supposed to be registered.
why
to
do
vote.
it's the same reason that California doesn't want any checks.
Yeah,
and
right.
balances. Same reason. Yeah.
They want to cheat. They want to play Sal Alinsky's game.
I mean,
But
maybe
anyway,
we would
before
see somebody drop off 30, 40 ballots at a time. You know,
We saw that during the movie 2000
yeah,
Mules.
right?
anyway, before I go, I just wanted to say that young man that messed with my sign,
Yeah.
he sent me $75 the other year. The courts did to pay for part of his restitution. So
Awesome.
Oh well, that's
So
that's
he's-
good outcome.
He's learned some lessons. That's a good thing.
Yep.
You've done a good thing.
yeah, I think I'll take that $75 and go down to Texas Roadhouse and buy me a steak dinner.
That's worth the trip.
Enjoy
Yes, it is.
yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I do every day.
Excellent.
That's the best way to be. Yeah, I was in
Yes,
Roadhouse
sir.
the other day. I had my second anniversary, so we spent it at Roadhouse. You know, because my daughter was working,
All right.
and she picked up the
They
tab
do-
and paid for my steak. So it was even a better anniversary.
Was it a sirloin steak?
I got a New York strip.
There you go. That's
Right.
one of the good ones. I like a porterhouse myself. But
Oh.
anyway, y'all have a good weekend.
All right, you too, man. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.
Mr. Carl. He's still doing it. He's still putting up signs. He's still working.
Very active.
Yeah, he's
Very sharp.
84, you know.
Yeah. Well, that means there's hope. Maybe I can
Still
go
out
another
there.
10 years.
Yeah, see, that's the way I look at it. You know, it's going to be sad if I look around, there's nobody older.
Yeah.
Who
Well,
will I have as a mentor?
well, I'm thinking about the genius farmer friend of mine in
A genius
Austra-
farmer.
Yeah,
All
just
right.
incredible.
Aren't they all?
Roy Eykamp in who was a farmer here in Yuma too for a while.
I know the iCamp name. Yeah.
Right, and they anyway they emigrated to Australia in 1966, and he there's no question they were genius farmers, and I met him when he was 99, and he was pretty sharp at 99.
Wow.
But by the time he died at 102, he had gone downhill some.
Oh, he slipped.
Yeah,
we'll give it to him.
but at 99, he was pretty sharp.
I like that. Speaking of sharp, let's talk to Sandy.
Yeah.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning.
Good.
To straighten out Arizona, first we've got to get rid of the Democrats that are in charge. And that's hard to do because
Yeah.
they're in charge.
That's right.
But what I would do is I would get rid of a month or 54 days, however many days of voting before the election. That should be gone. There should be no mail-in ballots except for special circumstances like military, invalid. That's it.
Yeah.
No, that just needs to go because that's where the big problem in California is. And when you go to vote, you've got to have your ID, and it can't be like a membership to a club like they do
Right.
in California.
It's got to be a.
I don't
Somebody
think they
put out
require.
a list.
I don't think they require any ID
No,
in California.
They've given up on that too. No ID. Just walk in.
Well, it's got to be a legitimate ID
Yeah.
and something that my nephew came up with that I think is a really good idea. And with all the electronics, you could do it. You come in to vote and you give your ID, or you go into the booth with your ID, and your ballot's printed right then, specific to you. So they can't have extraneous ballots everywhere.
Well,
And
I think
I
you're-
think that would be.
yeah,
ahead.
that's a way that it had been for a long time. Is you got your ballot at the voting.
Well, she's talking
poll.
about printing it right then. But they pre-print them all.
Yeah, I mean, but if whether you have it printed right then at the polling place or they hand you one at the polling place, I think it's pretty close.
Well, she's just saying you got all these ballots laying around. It's
Oh yeah, that's a
that's right.
very serious
Well,
problem.
if you vote early, you go down, they print it right there for you.
Right.
It prints right in front
Yeah,
of
I've done that.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to
That's
say
the way it's got to be.
in Sandy,
And you can't have the votes have to be counted by that night.
I think that would be
And
reasonable.
I think the only reason that Florida got straightened out is because a good guy became governor.
Yep.
And
That's
the problem
exactly
with
right.
our state is a bad lady is governor.
Yep.
And it is the problem. She got in there because she was in charge of the election.
Yeah.
She wouldn't even debate because she knew she was going to engineer it.
Right.
The same thing in California. Those two ladies wouldn't even debate. I've forgotten his name already.
DeSantis.
No. In California.
California.
The young man in L.A. Pratt.
Yeah.
Pratt. The two ladies though wouldn't debate him after he was just beating them up on the debate stage.
Oh yeah, they
Correct.
because
quit.
they already knew it was handled.
Yeah, they quit. And Pratt was looking forward to the general if he was going to debate Bass, because she would have done it then, and he would have destroyed her.
I know, but I was telling my nephew, I'm sorry, she ain't going to debate him
Well,
because she knows that it's all engineered.
well,
And like that, there's a Dean there, and I don't have it in front of me, but I shared it with Russ. There's a guy from California, and I shared it with him, I think, last week. And he has watched what's going on, and he says gangs are even involved, like Armenian gangs.
Oh, sure.
I've heard reports on that.
They
yeah.
go around and scoop up the ballots, take them to a sorting center, and they fix who's going to be voted for, and they even put a signature. So if it says Joe Jones on it, somebody signs Joe Jones.
Allegedly, they
And
sell
then
them to
they have
the
'em-
candidates.
I could believe
What
that.
they do is they sell them, right?
Yeah, right.
They sell them. So my nephew and I are so disappointed at how things have gone, and my husband too.
Well,
There is a big worry about Arizona because I hate to tell you, Gilbert's right. We are considered one of the, I'll put it in my own words, a big cheating state. California is worse than us, but we are considered a big cheating state.
I have warned you on
So
this
it just
before
saddens me.
about telling me Gilbert's right. You're not allowed to do that, Sandy. You can't say
Okay, well,
Gilbert's
sometimes
right.
I tell you when he's wrong too, so I try to stay balanced.
Well, I'll take that one.
I'm fair and balanced.
Well,
take the
Sandy,
one.
let me tell you a little bit about Wisconsin, because you talked about having these mail ballots, absentee type ballots, only being allowed in special circumstances. And that's the law in Wisconsin. They weren't supposed to have lots of mail-in ballots. And in the 2020 election, they had an election commission, which was dominated by leftists. And they said, yeah, well, we'll just ignore the law and we're going to allow mail-in ballots. We're going to allow all these drop boxes and everything. But it was contrary to Wisconsin law. The law said you can only get a ballot if there's special circumstances, a mail-in ballot. And that case was taken all the way up to the Wisconsin Supreme Court, which was dominated 4-3 by conservatives at that time. And there were about 250,000 ballots that were contested that had obviously been cast illegally because they violated the law. And I remember I watched the case being heard by the justices, and basically there were 3 of the conservative justices. I think 2 of them were women. I'm trying to go by memory. And they said, look, it's the law. We have to uphold the law, even if it was COVID, even if there were some other circumstance or whatever. The law is the law. We have to uphold it. And the 4th so-called conservative was a guy, a man, and he said, we can't invalidate the election. We just can't do that. I won't do it. And he voted with the 3 leftists, and they didn't uphold the law.
Right. That's goes back to my first point. The problem with California and Arizona is crooked people in charge.
Yeah.
As long as crooked people are in charge, they're going to use crooked means, and that's a serious problem, and we've got to figure out a way to straighten it out, because it does say constitutionally the states are in charge, but somehow they're, even the voters really don't have a chance in California. I heard someone else speaking. They voted for the jungle primary, which I think is dumb. And I've had that argument with people. They should have never voted for that.
Well, I agree.
But all
with
of these extensions and all this other stuff, Newsom is the one who, and how did he have the power to get to decide that? I don't know. But Judicial Watch, kind of like your case here, has won case after case that California must clean up their rolls. Guess what California does?
They ignore the court decisions.
Correct. Over and over again. So like this guy that was being interviewed explained, there's lots and lots and lots of extra ballots out there that are scooped up and used by these gangs to sell to the different candidates. Now, I'm going to sound like a really bad person, but in a way I wish his campaign had bought a bunch. But I don't want that. But still, I don't know how, if we don't fight back. The only way to fight back is to use the corrupt system that they've got, though they might arrest his people, and put him in jail and say, see, it's the Republicans doing it.
Yeah, and that's one of the big problems, right? Selective
another
enforcement.
Thing I think could be done, it could be a long process, but I think FBI or somebody's got to infiltrate these groups.
And some of that may be happening.
Somebody's got to watch to see, somebody's got to look over the voter rolls and see that, I guess it's called the registrar, is not cleaning the rolls. And that person needs to be arrested for not following an order. And for ballots that go out, they need to infiltrate gangs or NGOs and catch them there. Those people have said, well, they just get them for mail fraud. But if you start doing that, and then somehow if you could finally get some good people in, you've got a chance. Because that's what helped Florida, was Ron DeSantis.
Oh yeah, it was
because
amazing.
Ron DeSantis, well, and that's what's needed. And it makes people in California that wanted Pratt, and I don't know if Hilton still has a chance or not.
Looks like he's going to be in the runoff.
They want this. They want it changed. There's a lot of people in California that don't like this, but the politicians do, because it keeps them in power.
Right. Now, I did want to make a little observation here. As you said that the states are in charge of elections, but the Congress has the ability to regulate federal elections.
Okay, good.
And so that's where the SAVE Act came in. That's been so far has not passed the Senate. And the SAVE Act said in federal elections, you have to have an ID showing you are a citizen. You have to prove you're a citizen to vote in a federal election. And that would go quite a ways to help clean up California. And maybe that's why, these 2 or 3 or 4 Republicans in the Senate are not willing to follow the will of the people and pass the SAVE Act. So, I mean, it's like over 80% of the people in the country think you should have to show an ID at election, and that you should be an American citizen in order to vote in a federal election. But the Senate is stopping it.
Do you think that these people are being paid?
I think it's
you're
more
just
than
saying
money.
Something you're not going to be held accountable.
I think it's
more
than
money.
Yeah, they are all wealthy already. So it's not like more money particularly. I think it's partly the good old boy network. My buddy so-and-so has helped me out on this, the bills I wanted to pass and so on. And we don't want him to lose his seat. And if we had fair elections in the whole country where people had to use ID, why our power structure might change. And besides, Trump wants it, and I hate Trump.
Yeah, I think that's the ending.
Well, they need, basically, they're too stupid to understand they're going to end up going. Now, I would hate for Susan Collins to lose against the Nazi guy. I would hate that.
I
But
doubt
she doesn't do anything to garner support.
I think Collins is going to win. That's my prediction in the general
Good.
election.
I hope so, even though
but
she's got
we will
issues with
see.
me.
You know, none of these seats are absolute, and things can happen, and politics is fluid.
Yep.
Well, what can we do? You know, we can call these people, but you know, a lot of people have been calling them, and they don't just seem immovable. I don't know if maybe I don't know if Trump's got something in mind or something to get them to finally do it and do right by the country.
Well,
that's why I think so many people like Trump. Trump doesn't do stuff for Trump. Trump does stuff for us.
I agree.
And these other people, they're dadgum clueless.
Well,
you know, it makes me very angry.
Well, I think that anger can be a fuel to help keep us doing what we're doing. I think we are winning. There are setbacks, but we are gradually changing the system. I think the Republican Party has pretty much become the Trumpian party now.
Yep.
And that's a huge change. And Trump has got incredibly smart and talented people around him in his cabinet and in positions, and that's making an enormous difference. So I think we're winning, but we could easily lose if we give up fighting.
Right. Well, I'm fearful that in California that could happen.
Well,
maybe if Steve Hilton stays in there, they'll feel like they've got some voice. But a lot of them feel like with the jungle primary, if everything's just Democrats, you have no voice.
Right. And it's, you know, your primaries are not anywhere near as popular as general elections generally. So if the people who voted in the primary, I don't know how many people voted in the California primary, but I think it's like about 500,000, under 1 million for certain. And you have probably 5 million potential voters in Los Angeles. So at most you have 20% of the population deciding who the top two candidates. And if half of that, of the people who voted, go for one candidate, it's over. It's over. They don't even have a general election then.
Right.
So it's a way to allow those who are strongly politically organized, like the California Democratic Party machine, to avoid a general election. You just get enough people to vote for one candidate in the primary, and you don't have a general election.
I'm surprised she hasn't paid for more votes, but hey, I think there's 2 more weeks or something. Someone's saying. We'll you know, so that she could get to that. Maybe she can't at this point get to that.
I don't know that she can. Bass is not popular in Los Angeles right now.
Well, she won the vote.
She got the strongest.
She got 35%, 34%.
Yeah. So and that may be, I mean, maybe her finances are limited. Maybe she can only buy 34%. I don't know. And this is all speculative.
I know one thing for sure: those are not all legitimate votes.
I suspect you are
paid
correct.
For votes. Yeah, I'm very jaded. It's sad because I never ever thought this way when I was even 10 years younger.
Right. I agree, and that's part of what we are seeing is the entire populace has begun to distrust the system because we've seen the results. And, you know, we see things like I saw watching on the Wisconsin court system where judges saying, well, we have to do this because it's the law. And one of them says, well, no, there's lots of precedent. I don't have to do that. We can't overturn an election.
I thought there was one case in the state where the judge at the top said that what was done was illegal, but it's too late to fix it.
Well, that's
Could
exactly
that be the same thing you're talking.
That's the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't overturn an election, and I actually sort of
see why you
sympathize. Well, because he didn't want the heat.
Yeah, well, then he shouldn't be in power.
Well, and now we have,
you know,
Now we have a
I look at
majority
things
of
different, but then I'm not, I don't have my neck out there either, so I got to
Right.
keep that in mind too.
well, now we have a
So-
majority of leftists on the Supreme Court in Wisconsin. And they spent a lot of money.
Mm.
The left spent a lot of money to arrange it that way. They spent, I think, over $1 million in the primary to get the Republican or the conservative candidate they wanted to run against. And then in the general election, they outspent the conservatives by like 3-1. And so they managed to get a far left, another justice on the Supreme Court, and flip the court from majority conservative to majority leftist in
Do you
Wisconsin.
think it was legitimate, or do you think they bought votes too?
Well, I think it was a combination. I mean, if you spend a lot of money on advertising and you very carefully arrange things, so they had already beat this conservative candidate once already, which is why I think they picked him and said, we know we can beat this guy. We beat him last time. And so they arranged for him to be the conservative candidate by spending a lot of money to get the votes out for him. And then in the general election, there were probably some shenanigans because, frankly, Milwaukee is also a big political machine. And they probably were able to purchase votes one way or another. But I think it was just that they spent 2 or 3 times as much money in the election to get their candidate elected because they wanted that Supreme Court and they got it. So was it legitimate? Partly. There may have been some shenanigans, hard to prove.
Right. Well, the big cities are detriment to democracy. I'll use which I think it really should be republic. It's the big cities that are the big issue.
You are correct, and it's been that way for 150 years.
Yeah.
New York had the Tammany Gang, and there are others. The large cities, particularly, I would say Chicago, New York, New Orleans, maybe Atlanta, now LA. It's just much easier to organize strong political machines that cheat.
Well, didn't the founders kind of recognize that?
Well, sure. I mean,
even though their big cities weren't huge, but the way they wrote the Constitution.
Yeah, I think so. That's one of the reasons we have the electoral system.
College,
right? And there are things that they did not foresee. In my opinion, one of them was the rise of politically controlled police forces in the big cities. They had sheriffs that were elected.
Right.
And as the cities grew, there used to be, night watchmen in the cities, and there were constables. And basically the cities got this idea, we'll create our own police forces that are under our thumb. And suddenly you had a police force that was not accountable to the people. It was accountable to
The mayor,
the
mayor and
political
council.
machine.
Yeah.
And I think that makes a big difference. And that is one of the things that allowed the corruption to grow. So, and it's just that cities are, many more anonymous people. Not everybody knows each other. There's more opportunities to use political power to reward people. And so cities have been more subject to corruption than most rural areas. I mean, you could have corruption in rural areas too, but you have things like the Battle of Athens that happened in like 1947 or something, where returning veterans came back and they said, hey, this sheriff is corrupt and he won't allow people to vote. And they literally rebelled against them and had a gun battle with the sheriff's office and drove the sheriff out of business and had fair elections after that. But that was in a rural
some people
area.
have said we may end up with a civil war.
I hope
I've
not.
heard that
No.
for years
I
now.
really hope not.
Nobody wins in that. Yeah.
Well,
I hope not too. I sincerely hope not.
I think we're
But
winning.
notice those guys had to take actual action
Yeah.
to get the corruption out.
And actually, at
Like I've tried to think, how can you get rid of these guys if they're in charge of the corrupt
Well,
system?
I think that the Congress has the power to regulate federal elections, and something like the SAVE Act is probably a big step in the right direction for federal elections.
We
And
just have to get these 4 people to quit it
well, that's
and
right.
do the right thing somehow.
And McConnell is going to be gone, and Connolly is going to be gone, and what was the other one? Not Graham. There was another one that's
No, Lindsay's
But it
gonna be
wouldn't be soon enough for the midterm.
no, unfortunately, that's the
there.
case.
Tillis.
Tillis, yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be gone. So we're going to have a change. And I think I watched Newt Gingrich talk about it. And he said, if the price of gas is below $3 by Labor Day, we're going to win big in the midterms.
Well, Trump is saying 2 weeks now. That Iran thing will be wrapped up in 2 weeks. I don't know if you knew
Well,
that.
it's hard to know exactly. And Trump tends to be a little optimistic on these things.
Kind of like
and,
Elon Musk.
and it may happen that way. And we have overwhelming power there in the Middle East militarily. So I think we're winning there, and we're going to win.
But do we have the
the
patience?
timing is a little uncertain for me.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I wanted to add one other thing, because you were talking about how President Trump attends these different sporting events.
Yeah.
And I think it's really good for a president to do that, because I believe in healthy mind, healthy body, though I don't always do. When I was younger, I was better at it.
Yeah.
But, and I know watching the sport is not the same, but when you create interest in a sport or bring attention to a sport, frequently it creates an environment where people want to be more active. And so I appreciate that he goes to these different sporting events.
Yeah, I do
And I
too.
think it's good for them. And
I do for a different reason. He is a populist president, and this shows his voting that I am a sports fan just like you are. And, and so it helps his overall image as a populist, which I think he clearly is. And he is one of his sons. I remember reading, I forget, was Don Jr. Maybe he said he's a blue collar billionaire. And I think that's a good way to describe him.
Well, and he's authentic.
Oh, absolutely.
He enjoys these sports, and when he was younger, he even played in them. And they've got some video where he was on a court, and they said, "Well, why don't you see if you can make a basket?" And of course, he does. Or like throwing a football, and he does. He's a very, very smart and well-rounded person. I'll put it that way. Now he's older, so he doesn't do everything he used to do, like most of us.
He's 80.
But
so.
What was that?
He stays active, and I really like that he goes out and plays golf. I think that's good for him. Yeah. I try to do simpler things like walking, but
the term that I heard that I really liked was an extremely stable genius.
Correct.
Was that his term for himself?
And I agree with that.
No, somebody was describing. It might have been Trump. I don't think it was, but
well, I've heard him say it. That doesn't mean that he originated with the idea.
Yeah,
somebody else might have.
I mean, he is a genius. There's no question in my mind that he's incredibly smart.
And I heard audio of the clapping and stuff. And the cheers, USA, and I will fully admit my hearing's not as good as it used to be, but I didn't hear like a lot of boos. I'm sorry, I did not.
I was reported by some that it was
kind of like
that was a mixture. I couldn't hear it either, but some say it was a mixture, but I don't know.
I would not
be
surprised.
Then the leftists, all they wanted to say was it was all boos.
Yeah, well, that's not true.
Just like they go around and they ask people, and they only put out on a production the people that don't like that the reflecting pool is fixed.
I know.
But I see other things where people are interviewed and they just love it. So the left is just putting the negative out.
Well, they're trying to form a narrative that to control us. You know, it's the old narrative mind control trick. and they're trying it, but it isn't working as nowhere near what it used to.
Thank goodness for social media. Even though it's got its fallbacks, it's because I can see this other stuff.
Yeah, and
that I'm a more balanced person.
And the
but
internet.
I would look forward. I'd look forward to infiltrating these elections. I don't know if that's a possibility, but I really would like for that SAVE Act to be passed.
Yes, I think I would not be surprised if there aren't people actively recruiting informants. And, you know, it's hard in gangs because they tend to be kind of loyal. You know, they don't want to get killed. And so, but I suspect some of that is going on as we are talking.
Well, I hope so, because it is a criminal enterprise, even though you're both correct that it's been legalized by the criminal politician. In this case, it would be Newsom. And apparently that the registrar, maybe different registrars for the different counties, they feel comfortable ignoring the law.
Well, they have
they
super majorities in the California legislature. They have super majorities that are Democrats, and they have passed these laws. I think they've even had some referendum that helps create these situations. So when you have that strong a political machine, it's really hard to fight.
Right. Well, thank you both very much. I didn't mean to take up as much time. I was listening to everything you were saying before. It was just very well done. I always like your show every day. I just can't always see it. I mean, hear it.
Yeah,
Yesterday, I didn't even have any internet, most of the morning. So it's like, okay. Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but it could have just been, I can only listen by the phone, the smartphone. I don't have any, that's why I want the radio back.
It'll be
I'll
here.
let you guys go.
All right. Take care.
I hope so.
All right.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Sandy.
She's a sharp woman.
She reads a lot. I get a lot of stuff from her too. That's really good. Okay. I have a listener that has some questions for you.
Oh, good.
Yeah. You say good. We'll see. The communist comment on Walter Cronkite being a communist. He wants to know if that's an opinion or a fact.
Well, you can look it up on the internet. That's how I found out about it. And he didn't mention it until after he was retired.
I couldn't find any mention, but let me take another phone call right now. Hey, Mike, good morning.
Good morning, Russ. How are you doing?
We're doing well. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I'll tell you how we fix this voter fraud.
All right. We'll write it down.
You make voter fraud a federal offense. It's punishable by death. You'll fix voter fraud.
Yeah.
That kind of thing has been tried in different societies at different times, and it usually doesn't work all that great. Really? I'm not saying for voter fraud, but they had, for example, on the second or third offense for stealing in England in the 1850s, 60s, around in there, it was a capital offense. You could be executed. Well, what would happen is that they'd arrest some 15-year-old who was caught stealing for the third time, and then the juries just said, "No, we're going to nullify it. We're not going to find him guilty because we know he'd be executed."
Yeah.
No. We can all agree that voter fraud has created all of the low character politicians that run roughshod over us.
Well, I don't know. No, I don't agree with that. I think the low character politicians have probably created voter fraud. I think the causation is the other way around. And politicians in general are subject to being corrupted by the power they have. I mean, it's just the way it works.
That's just a Saul Alinsky mantra. That's a goofy mantra.
I think it's human nature.
The problem is that voter fraud puts in bad character, which prevents good character from running. That's been our problem. Now I'll tell you something. Men lie under white headstones. They died. They held the line. Don't laugh. Don't you dare laugh. Men lie under white headstones. They held the line. They died for the vote. That's the only thing. Don't ho-hum that. Do not ho-hum that.
We haven't said a word.
Well, I can see you on the
okay.
okay.
Yeah,
I
we're
can
looking
see-
like who's laughing. I
Yeah,
don't
well,
know.
we're
But
puzzled.
I'll tell you what. If they died and lie under white headstones, the people who commit that is a crime against humanity. A vote is lost. Can we agree? When every voter fraud, a vote is
absolutely.
lost.
It's
Yeah,
stealing someone's rights. It's
I
stealing.
agree with that.
Absolutely.
I mean, so until we get that serious about it, you need to die if you commit voter fraud.
I'm completely
the
want to
other-
be. I think you're right about being completely serious. I'm of course I'm not going to go with the death penalty for that. But
Well, I'll tell you what. There are certain feathers in getting voter fraud completed, and what you do is that's absolutely right. You get the dumbest among them, give them money and cigarettes, but you will eliminate them if you eliminate them if they know they're going to get killed.
Well, I don't think we need the death penalty because we have an example where we didn't use the death penalty and it worked great. And that's DeSantis in Florida.
he didn't kill anybody.
And he just enforced the law that we had. And the vote got cleaned up incredibly in just 1 or 2 elections. It was
And you know what?
amazing.
The death penalty for voter fraud would even make it more solid.
I think they'd find a way to pin a voter fraud on the people you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they would have
that's
pinned it on Trump.
It's a
then.
potential
Yeah,
problem.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's
so
a
you gotta-
serious problem. You're absolutely right,
Yeah,
It is
Mike.
the most serious problem. And the thing about it is it has been ho-hummed for the last 50 years with this Saul Alinsky mantra. Well, it's been going on forever, so why we can't do anything about it.
Well, I'd say it's a lot more like 150 years, but yeah, it's
So,
a serious
time-
problem.
It's time to, if you don't want to have a civil war, and I don't really understand why you guys think it's such a bad idea, and for you to say that civil wars never did anything.
That's
No,
not.
I said
what
nobody
we
wins.
didn't say
Accomplished.
that.
Yeah, I think
Every-
it's
Every civil war accomplished what it was supposed to do. It's a good thing we had a civil war in the 1860s because it got rid of the Democrats who wanted to keep the blacks enslaved.
well.
Isn't that right?
I don't think he got rid of them.
I mean, we had Reconstruction afterwards, and we had the Democrats back in power about
You're
1875.
saying
Yeah.
the right word.
They
You had the Reconstruction. You had the Democrats go against the Reconstruction.
Right.
And who did? And now who tried to fix the Jim Crow laws was Richard Nixon.
Okay.
Richard Nixon. They asked Richard Nixon, well, we have the 13th and 14th Amendments. Why do you need to make the Civil Rights Act? And he said to fix the damage done by the Jim Crow laws. Who got credit? Who LBJ got credit for? That was Richard Nixon's bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
The Republicans were very much in favor of that. And I think that there was a majority or a majority of Democrats. Remember, there were the yellow dog Democrats down in the South were the backbone of the Democratic Party back then.
Until people start taking the stand that the Democrat Party needs to lose their charter because they are totally anti-American.
They become
are
that.
Totally. Huh?
They have
They
become
always
that.
have been, Dean. They always have been. They were in the Civil War. They were anti-American.
Okay.
Have you ever read? And you should read the Constitution of the South that they were going to put in place if they had won that war.
Well, they put it
You
in
need
place
to go ahead and read.
for the South. They
The
just
South.
lost the war. I mean, during the war,
Yes,
it was
but
in
if they
place.
would have won the war, if they'd have gotten what they wanted, if they were able to secede from this country, they had a constitution that they were going to put in place. You need to read that and then tell me that they were not anti-American. Now, the Democrats have done everything that they could since Andrew Jackson to to damage this country. And anybody who does not believe that, you're the problem. The Democrat Party is the problem in this country, and until they get put in check, and they get put in check by voter fraud, because a Democrat has never won an election. And if you think not, then you know what, you're pretty naive. A Democrat has never won an election without voter fraud. A Democrat has never won an election without campaigning to the right. So, there you have it. The vote, if the both of you take a stand right now, is that not the most sacred thing next to Jesus Christ is the vote? Say yes or no.
I don't know.
The most.
I mean, I
sacred-
mean,
there's
I
a
think
lot of
it's
sacred things.
It's a lot. It's one of the most sacred things for the United States. I don't know if I want to bring Christ into it.
I mean, you
don't
can't
have the vote. You don't have the United States.
Well, you can't have you do not have an effective democracy if you've got serious voter
We're
fraud.
not a
What you have is
democracy, we're a
political
republic.
machines.
Stop calling it a democracy. We're a republic.
A
Stop
democratic
calling it a
republic.
You
It's a
don't have an effective
constitutional
republic.
Yeah, it's a democratic republic. And I know
No,
people
it's a
call it democracy
constitutional
all the time.
republic.
It is that too. It's both.
No, it is not, Russ.
It's
Well,
not.
we
It's not a
have-
democratic.
No,
It's not a
We
democratic
have
republic.
votes. I mean,
Democratic republic just means that we vote our
For a representation
representation in. Yeah,
the founding fathers would have used that terminology.
they did.
No, they never used the word Democrat.
Is that right? Well, I'll
No.
research it.
it's not in the Constitution. It's
No,
not
it's
in
not in the
the
Constitution. It's
Declaration
It's not
of
even in
Independence.
any of the letters that they wrote each other. It's not in any of the correspondence. A democracy is the precursor to communism.
Yes, they saw problems with democracy. They did not want a direct democracy because essentially, once people learn to vote themselves largesse out of the public trough, then your democracy collapses.
Once people, right now, we have an intelligent population in this country. 98% of this country is conservative. 2% is liberal Democrat. Now the problem is that 2% is preventing the 98% from getting the things that we need in this country. And that needs to be fixed. That's fixed by voter fraud. Voter fraud provides for the 2% to run roughshod over the 98%. Why are you silent?
We're listening. I don't agree with a lot of the 2% fund. I mean, they're liberals. I think it's more than that, but that I'm not going to
Yeah,
fight you over
I
that.
would say 25%, but
Yeah.
Okay, you can say it's a large minority that is over that small minority.
I think that's
Well, why-
correct.
But why do we have a guy like Thune? Is because of voter fraud. We have a guy like Thune because it is a voter fraud allows crap to go to the top. How can a man be an adult with an adult brain go against that act that everybody wants? How can a man with an adult brain and be in a position of that he has and say, I'm doing it because I don't like Trump? I mean, that's
well,
that man needs to be yanked out of there.
I'm going
by
to
a
agree with you
crowd
that
of people.
I think somebody
Tired and feathered.
I think it's just ridiculous to do those things, but it's a free country and he can say that if he
Ridiculous
wants.
to do what?
Just
It's
say
not
that I'm not going to
ridiculous
vote
what he's
for
doing to us?
I'm going to vote for somebody that I
It's not-
hate because I hate Trump more. I think that's ridiculous. But you
Oh,
can't
yes,
just yank
yes.
him out of the country or tell him you can't vote. You're not going to do that. That's tyranny on the other
Tarred and
side.
feathering, and that used to be a part of life. And
Oh.
we need to bring that back just to be able to get these Democrats to get the hell out of this country.
I think I'd rather convince them that there's a better way.
You're not
and I think that's
convincing them because you don't have
Okay.
good Republicans that are trying to convince them. Who's trying to convince Thune right now? You've got a majority of the Republicans trying to convince him, and he's the one who's standing in the way of it.
yes, he is. And so is
Who do you wanna
McConnell, and so is
convince?
Tillis. And many of them are not coming back. And I think it's going in the right direction. I know you're
It's too
Hey,
late.
Oh, it's not too late.
I don't think
If-
it's too
if-
late.
if-
I think we're winning.
If we don't win the midterms, it's done.
Well, I think it's a serious danger if we don't win the
Well,
midterms, but
well-
we may win the midterms. It's not a foregone conclusion one way or the
We're
other.
getting loud. We're getting loud right now. The subject here is voter fraud,
Okay.
and voter fraud is an absolute that needs to be fixed because it is the utmost, most important thing
but-
in this country.
But Mike, we're all in agreement. Where we disagree is that we're going to start killing people. That
I didn't say kill people. You're
Well-
going to kill people with the Civil War if you don't fix this.
well,
Well,
we're talking
there
about-
you go. I think that's a
Do you know who's
reasonable.
calling for a civil? Who is the side that's calling for civil war mostly? The conservatives or the Democrat?
It depends.
Who's calling for civil war?
Depends on who's asking the question.
It's the Democrats that are calling for it.
Well,
Democrats want it, and the Democrats are going to get it because the Democrats get what they want.
if you lived in Georgia, it was a war on northern aggression.
Well, for the last Civil War. I mean, I think we are in
And
what I
what
would
did it
call a
take?
cold Civil War right now.
We're
Yeah,
in a
it's
cold civil war,
aggressive.
absolutely.
And I think
We're in a
we
cold
are
Civil
winning the cold Civil War.
Really?
And,
Are
yeah,
we?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, as I mentioned, the
If God would not have put this man Trump in place, what would we have had?
well, that's my point.
We'd have had trouble.
When Santos is no longer governor of Florida, it's going to go back.
I don't
When
know
Trump-
that's a
when
given.
Trump leaves this genre, who can take his place? Unless there are specific laws that are put in place.
We can't do that. I mean, the left tries all the time to put in laws that's going to out the Republicans. They did that in California. They made it in California
back-
laws that it's just impossible to elect a Republican. And it's
Getting back to Wisconsin, Dean, do you know what the problem was in Wisconsin and is mostly in all the states? It's called the Attorney General Project. Did you ever hear that term, either of you?
Oh, yeah.
What is the Attorney General Project?
Well, the way that I recall it, it was mostly a George Soros funded
There you
system.
go. Bingo. Yes. And we're paying the price of that right now because the Republicans were asleep at the wheel or they did not want to do anything about it.
Well, I think the blame is misplaced. I think it's not that they were asleep at the wheel. We had the wrong people, and we have changed from what was the old GOP into a Trumpian Republican Party, and more Trump supporters are now a significant majority in the Republican Party are Trump supporters. Maybe an overwhelming majority are, and we're moving in the right direction, I think.
Let me ask you guys a question.
what's that?
If you see voter fraud, let's say you see it. I see voter fraud. Who do you call, the police or the sheriff? Whose jurisdiction is that, voter fraud? The police or the sheriff?
Sheriff.
Okay. How many counties are in Arizona?
15.
So there are 15 sheriffs in Arizona, and there's an association of sheriffs, right?
Correct.
What are those sheriffs doing? What I've never heard them have their input about what their plan is to stop voter fraud in these counties. What is our sheriff's plan for stopping voter fraud?
I don't think he has a plan, anymore than he has he monitors, he's available, he's out there. And I can tell you during voting time, he gets called and he does. And he goes out or the sheriffs do go out to the voting stations.
And a lot of the problem is the structural laws that have been put in place to make fraud easily done.
Yeah.
For
You're
example, you
absolutely
can't
right.
have cameras
too-
watching a polling place.
No, not indoors.
It is too easily done, and that is the problem. To have it raise at its level of criminality will stop most of the voter fraud that is assigned to the dumbest among us.
All right.
Don't you think? Because the Democrats, they find the dumbest people. They give them cigarettes. They give them $5,
Well-
and they say, go do this. Take this bundle here. Take this bundle there.
Yeah.
That will stop those idiots.
Well, that's not
from
legal
doing it.
now, but even finding
not
that
legal?
is to give somebody money
What's
to
that?
vote. You can't do that.
So that's happening. Nobody's
course-
done anything
it's
about it.
And
Of course
it's
it's
being exposed more,
Yeah.
and it's putting a damper on some
We
voter
are
fraud.
in 2026. We are celebrating 250 years, and
Yeah.
you're saying it's being exposed more.
Yep.
It should be fixed by now. With our intellect, with all of our ingenuity, it should be fixed right now. But it keeps being
And
put
And we've got great
put
examples
down
of
the
those that
line,
have fixed it.
the next election, the next election, the next election,
Well,
and nothing gets done.
I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think more has been done, and Florida does it. And it's not going to do it like flip the switch like you want, unfortunately.
But I think we're making progress on it.
absolutely.
Oh, that's my 2 cents. on
I
this
believe.
one.
I appreciate it, Mike. Take care, buddy.
Okay. Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.
He's very passionate,
I like that. I like that passion.
but I can't join him on some of that stuff.
Well, I just, it sounds like an easy solution to just say, well, we convict somebody of voter fraud, we kill them.
Yeah, I know.
But in my reading of history,
not gonna happen.
such draconian things
So the fact
don't
that you even
solve the
the
problem.
fact that you even say those things is going to turn a lot of people off from even aligning with the Republican Party. If that's, I mean, if we put that on the to-do list, I mean, somebody's running for president and says, as soon as I'm elected, I'm going to put the death penalty on anyone that cheats on voting. How many votes is that guy going to get?
I don't think they will,
They're
but
not gonna
I
win.
see this. I mean, I see discuss online with a lot of conservatives, and there are quite a few people who
Yeah.
want that. I don't think it's a strong minority, but there's a passionate majority who think that'll fix the problem.
It won't.
I don't think it will, but it's.
I mean, nothing can completely fix it. We just
right.
need to contain it. It's
In-
out of control right now.
In my opinion, a lot of the reason that we have had voter fraud and the machines is because the media was almost entirely controlled by the left
Yep.
for a long, long time, and it no longer does,
Hey,
and that's part of the way we fix it.
And they kept saying it was the best election ever. There
Yeah, it
was no
never
fraud.
happens. There's no fraud.
Oh,
Nobody's
a
ever
bunch
proved-
of crap.
And then when you start coming up with actual examples of fraud, they said, "Well, it's not important. It doesn't have any
it just
effect."
goes around.
And-
But anyway, getting back to communists, where we
go
started.
ahead.
Walter Cronkite, you said he was a communist. I looked it up to see if he's ever said it. I had some grok and stuff checking. Has he ever? And I couldn't find it.
Oh, if you want, I'll try and come up and I'll send you a link.
But do you think he said it though?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, and this listener's question, did he ever really say that? So Gilbert's calling me back. Good morning, Gilbert.
Good morning. The problem is, in my own opinion, my humble high school education opinion is no prosecutions. People get arrested.
I think you're right.
people are found,
Yeah.
And there's no, and that's the whole problem in a nutshell. You don't have to shoot them. You don't have to hang them.
Nope.
You don't have to put them in the guillotine. But you
Crime
need
with
to have
teeth.
prosecution.
Prosecute with teeth.
Yeah.
Cost you.
I think you're correct, and I think that's what Florida
God,
shows.
and you know what? I hate saying he's correct though.
Well,
Well,
you're
it's
saying
okay
it
because I
encourages
just-
them. Well, sometimes it's the right thing to do.
All right, you stumbled into that one, Gilbert. I think.
Yeah, well, I'm not as educated as you guys are. So, but
Wrong.
I do know one thing I do have is common sense.
Yeah.
A lot of common sense.
and
If
look
common
what
sense
happened
dictates-
in 2020 when Trump took to court all the problems, and they're all thrown out on you to have no standing, and all that does is embolden the cheaters.
Now it went to the Supreme Court, at least one case, and there were, I think, two dissenters. Clarence Thomas is one of them. Said, "Hey, we should take this case. It's what we're supposed to do. It's right in the Constitution."
And they didn't.
And they
Right.
didn't.
Yeah, that's you're right, and
And-
that's why people are doing it more because you can't even take the cases to court.
And another thing, again, my own humble opinion, is this political BS. You can say anything you want about a person that's running for political office because it's political. You can smear him. You can make lies about him, the whole 9 yards. You can make false allegations, and you're not going to get in trouble because it's political.
Nah.
That's
It's not completely
BS.
true either. You can get charged with libel.
I think that's in the process of being changed. There's a very important case, I think, in the 1960s that set that up. I've
Mhm.
forgotten the name of it.
Yeah.
And I could see that being reversed by this court.
Yeah. Well, again, something that should be, common sense. You can't make lies about somebody because they're in a political arena. If you make a lie, an out and out lie, and people get hurt by it, you should get punished.
Yeah.
Well, that used to be the case.
Yeah, it should be the case.
Again, Dean, you hit it right on the head. It used to be the case, but because all the politicians and all the naysayers and all the judges, all the liberals, and we have Republicans in there too, that they said that's an accepted behavior.
Yep.
Well, what we had is the Supreme Court dominated by progressive ideological judges made that decision roughly, about 60 years ago or so. And in my opinion, they understood that gave the media a lot more power. And the media was overwhelmingly progressive ideology at the time. So I think that's what happened and why they did it.
And again, these judges were appointed.
Yes.
Right? They were appointed.
Appointed mostly by FDR.
I have a problem with these Supreme Court judges being there a lifetime. I do, especially if you have progressive.
No bias there.
Well, did you have a problem with Alito and Thomas being on lifetime?
Yeah, even Thomas, all of them. They once they're in, they're in, and you can't change it. And a lot of our laws that we have, and a lot of our non-laws that we have, are because the judges are lifetime. And if they owe somebody a favor, or if someone needs a favor, money talks, a poor man walks.
Well, here's the thing that I see, Gilbert, is that now that we have a Supreme Court that has a majority of what I'd call textualist and originalist on the court, everybody's talking about we need to limit the Supreme Court.
I know.
Yeah, when we didn't have it for about 50 years, it was dominated by progressives. Well, that was okay.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. Absolutely. And it's one of those damn if you do, damn if you don't, right?
Well, I think we're on a track moving toward where we want to be, and we just need to keep pushing.
There you go.
Yeah, I agree. We need to keep up. We need to get common sense back in.
Oh, yeah.
We've lost it. We lost it in the news media, the movies, the television, all that crap has influenced our kids, the young kids.
Oh, absolutely. You won't find disagreement from me.
And they're going into this progressive BS.
I agree.
AI. You see a lot of the AI stuff on Facebook. I'm going, wait a minute. Is that for real? Let me check. Oh, it's AI.
A whole bunch of it, buddy.
I think in a couple of years, it's going to be almost impossible to know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I agree. So there's where we're headed at. There's exactly where we're headed towards. And it scares the bejesus out of me. But then again, you read Revelations, the times are coming. We don't know when, but it's coming. And the signs are all over this world right now that Revelations is on its way.
It's up to us to do the best we can do, no matter what.
Yeah. I always say do the best you can with what you got.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate the call.
All right.
Thanks.
Later.
Bye-bye. It's Mr. Gilbert. Call back again.
Another passionate.
He's so
caller.
passionate.
Yeah, I like it.
All right. I'm going to turn the phone on hold for a second because there's some things I want to get through with you, Dean.
Okay.
I think I got it on hold. I do not. There we go.
So some other questions, I guess.
Well, yeah. I like this because they're calling you out. The communist thing, though, with Walter Cronkite, I can't find it where he actually said he was, but he definitely is progressive and liberal and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, I said I'll have to look it up and see if I can send you a link.
And then this other one, he says there's only about 30% of the electorate is Trumpian. 30% are Dems, 40% are independents. I don't agree with those numbers. I checked, and I asked what percentage of uh, Republicans are MAGA? And I think it came up with about 75% of Republicans.
That sounds about
Is
right.
that right? But then on the independent side, you also have like 30% that are MAGA on independents. And they're still independent, but they're
Yeah,
MAGA.
I'm curious about how about are any Democrats MAGA? There are probably a few.
There might be a few. I didn't even ask that. But I believe those numbers. So he said that means it's 22.5% of the total electorate's MAGA. No, it's more than that. I just Republicans are 75%.
And it's also a question of what you look at total electorate. Everybody who's eligible to vote versus those who are likely to vote.
I was more looking at voters, I think.
Yeah,
I hope so.
okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's important. You can list a whole bunch of people that aren't voters. It doesn't matter.
Well, and there's a lot of people who can vote but don't. And not as many as there used to be. I don't know if you've noticed this trend, but we have much greater participation in elections as the country has become divided, because more and more people realize that elections are important. And for the same reason, we have much more expensive elections than we have ever had.
Oh my gosh.
If you go 30, 40 years ago, even if you factor in inflation, the amount of money spent in elections is so much more. And it's because everybody understands that these elections are important. They have real consequences and they affect your life.
And I'm looking at the money being spent on the election day on all the machines and all the stuff that made it slower. But we used to get done fast when it was hand ballots, and now we got machines to calculate it, and it takes us weeks.
There are places all over the world that do it much faster and better than we do.
With a paper
but
ballot.
For some reason, we insist on doing it our way. And it puts doubt into the electorate as to whether the election process is fair and secure. I have that doubt. A lot of people do. I think we need to move to a simpler, more transparent process, like, say, France has.
Another comment from this listener about Mike. Your caller belongs in Nazi Germany or communist Russia. Perfect fit for him.
Well, there are.
Because he's talking, my way or death penalty. That's not good.
Okay. I mean, there are a lot of people who think that way.
It's unfortunate. And then he writes, Jesus Christ, an execution for voter fraud? Maybe your caller forgot the Sermon on the Mount. Good point.
Yeah.
He says your caller's a caricature of MAGA. I don't think so. I don't think he's typical, but I don't know. He's more passionate than most.
I agree. I think there are people up there who are so fed up with the corruption they see, they only see extreme solutions. And it's human nature. I'm trying not to disparage Mike. I actually love his passion.
I do too.
I just
can't sign on to some of his conclusions.
Think that he needs to be a little more subtle in the way we execute.
If you want to sell to the masses,
the way to get there. And I think my example of Florida with DeSantis, by actually enforcing the election laws, worked.
Absolutely. And I think, this Pratt guy that was running for LA mayor is going to be more of the same. He's just straightforward, no nonsense. Stop this, stop that. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's fix the problem instead of just giving homeless money.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
kind of stuff.
It's hard to see how he is not popular, and he appeared to be fairly popular, but it wasn't good enough to be popular.
Well,
you have to have
there might have been some help on that vote. In fact, I wrote some numbers down just for curiosity. When on voting day, the numbers were Bass at 35%.
For Bass, right?
Yeah, and then Spencer came in at 29.4,
right,
and then Roma came in at 23%.
Yeah,
that's percentages. And then what they ended up with, Bass was at 34%. She actually went down,
right,
and then Roma went up to 26 from 23,
and Bass dropped.
I'm sorry. Roma went up to 29, and Bass went down to 26.
26, or
which
I thought it was closer.
I think it's 26% right now, 26 point something. But anyway, he's at the total number that he ended up with was 209,000 votes. Roughly.
Okay.
Rome ended up with 229, so she's almost 20,000 ahead. When it first came out, Spencer was at 162,000, so he only gained 45,000 votes in all the other votes that came in. She was at 130. She gained 100,000 votes
Right.
after voting the late earlies and stuff, and mail-ins and all that stuff. And Bass only got another 90,000. The one that got the most was Roma. She got the most, and she was not
Yeah, but
even polling that way.
About half of her votes came in after election counting.
Yeah. I mean, I could see we could look at that and say, that needs a little look at. Just
It looks highly suspicious.
it looks
to
very
me.
suspicious. She got 100,000 after the after accounts, and when things were straightened around.
And Pratt got about 30,000
Pratt got 45,000
of the after account.
of the after count,
and Bass got how many?
90,000.
Yeah.
And she was the top polling, the top everything. Everyone knew she was going to be the top.
Well,
but
that was but right. I mean, that's what the polling said.
Yeah.
But in the after ballots, the ballots that are counted
She got
after election day, after the next day, she was the middle.
well, yeah, she got 90,000 more, but she already had 162,000.
Right. So
And Roma had 130,000, got another 100,000.
So we have less than 1 million votes altogether.
Yeah.
When you add them all up,
Right.
I think it's 800, 900,000, something like that.
Yeah, about 900.
And so that's interesting because
but they say they're still counting, so it's going to keep coming.
Oh, so that's going to, we may reach 1 million votes. If you got to pay $5 a vote, then you're talking some serious money there.
I don't know. Somebody's paying for it. Somebody does. Somebody's counting all that.
And I'm being a little flip, but
Really?
I think there's just a real problem there that the election it appears to be set up to facilitate fraud.
But I really suspect at the end of the day, when they go through it and look at it very closely, they're going to say, we can't make anything out of it.
Right.
Because there's no records.
Because there's no laws.
What are you going to check?
I mean, anybody can register. They don't need any ID to register.
Don't need an ID to vote. And you can harvest. You can bring in as many ballots as you want.
Right.
There's no chain of custody rules.
A prescription for having a big,
you might as well
powerful
just
machine that
come in,
creates
steal anything you want.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's the way they set the laws up.
Now, interestingly enough, when I was reading about the Tammany machine and how they kept their power in New York, they actually had to be a little more creative. Like they'd pay a guy who was on the street to vote someplace, and then they'd take him to a barber shop and cut off most of his beard, and then they'd have him go back and vote again. And then they'd take him and give him a different haircut, have him go back and vote again. I mean, they had to go to a lot more trouble, it seems, than they would have to in Los Angeles or in California in general today.
I asked Grok about the Democratic Republic comment, if the founding fathers ever did, and the answer was yes. That they didn't use exactly that, but they called it a lot of different names, well-orchestrated democracy, or I don't know, but it was
regulated,
republic, well-regulated democracy and stuff. But they did call it more of a democratic, because we democratically elect our leaders.
Well, that's right. But they were very careful not to give simple majorities huge amounts of power. The Senate, for example, was not elected by popular vote until we had, what was the amendment? 17th? I forget.
For the senators?
For the popular election of senators. And that came in in the 1920s, I'm thinking, about then, that we passed that amendment.
Yeah, it used to be a little bit. I mean, senators used to be elected by the legislatures. Yeah, so they were more tied to the state.
That's right. The idea was that the states had a say in the federal government,
Right.
so that they had direct representation. Now there were problems. I mean, there were a lot of there was a lot of corruption among senators, and that's one of the reasons that the procedure was changed to direct election. But we found there's lots of problems with direct election too, and the states don't have as much power in the federal government as they used to have when the legislatures of the state selected senators. So I'm not absolutely convinced that one is way better than the other. I mean, we have problems with both, but the founders created the system to give the states more power, so that they would just not be run over roughshod by the federal government.
Right.
And we don't have that anymore, but we have, the senators still have a fair amount of their state interest at heart, I think.
They do, but not a fear factor that if I don't do wrong, my state's going to come down on me.
Well,
too
right.
much.
And I think that before the direct election of senators, a state legislature could recall their senator.
That was my understanding, that they could.
And that gives a lot of power to a state legislature.
Yeah, that says, wait a minute, you're out of line for our state.
You're not doing what we want. Or maybe you didn't stay bought like you said you would, something like that. So it lessened the direct power of the states.
The term the founding fathers used was constitutional republic, which later started being called democratic republic because it had democratic elements, and the founding fathers knew it was democratic elements such as elections, popular, sovereignty and stuff, that not pure democracy.
Right.
Which they discussed a lot, democracy. Like
right.
All democracies didn't work.
They saw the problems with the direct, and so one of the really important innovations in the Constitution was the idea that you had to limit government power. You had to somehow put a leash on government to prevent it from being so overwhelmingly powerful that it became a big danger.
And they did that by separation of powers and protection for individual rights.
And the checks and balances and all that. And it's been a brilliantly successful
but
system.
everybody wants to take more power, whether you're a judge or your legislature or you're the executive branch. They all want more power.
Well, that is the trend. It's a terrible temptation that comes with power, and the founding fathers understood that.
Yeah, it's constant.
It's
push pull.
We have their system has worked very well for us. Not perfectly,
but
not at all perfectly, but it has generally worked very well. It's one of the big reasons we are the most powerful, successful, free country in the world. I mean, and I mean all those separately. We are the most powerful country in the world. I don't think anybody denies that. We are the most successful country in the world. I don't
say
think
nobody but Putin.
There might be some people who would deny that, but not many.
They don't believe it when they do.
And we are probably the most free country in the world. And there might be a few people that would claim some other country is freer, but I don't see many examples. So I think we are the most successful, powerful, and free country that has ever existed in the history of the planet.
Well, yes. And I think you say that with eyes wide open and understanding.
Knowing that we have flaws.
Now, people in North Korea are going to say it's them because they don't have eyes. They don't have.
Well, yeah. Some people will say Russia is better.
Because they live a little more in a bubble.
I think that's true. But some people would say Sweden was better. I disagree.
Let's talk about Iran a little. The ceasefire, the kinetic ceasefire.
This is
and it goes on and on, and it's creating some friction between Israel and the United States too.
Sure,
and that's understandable, and there is. I mean, Israel has they're a little more aggressive on wanting to have more kinetic because they've lived there forever. They understand that Iran's not going to be in good faith and listen.
Right. Well, I think Trump understands that too.
But he does, and that's. But he's approaching it from a new way.
Well, it's a difference in viewpoint. No question.
Different on approach. He's more patient than anybody would have ever thought that he would. And I question the patience too. I mean, I look at it and say, bomb them already.
Well,
You know, but
I
don't know what he knows.
I have observed President Trump long enough that I know I have a very hard time questioning his judgment. And it just seems that he gets so much right so much of the time.
Right, but you like me are still going to look at it critically.
Well, exactly.
You know, you're not going to just ignore it. You're going to look at it
No,
critically. Even if you don't understand it, you're going to.
And I always had difficulty with people saying, well, look, the government knows so much more and they have all these intelligence. So of course they're doing the right thing. Well, I was very, very skeptical of that for decades.
Well, you should be.
And then I see President Trump and he does stuff that I wonder about. And then it turns out to have worked out wonderfully. And I go, well, maybe we should give him some leeway.
Right. And if you don't give him leeway, then you completely scuttle him and then he won't have any effect in foreign policy.
Well, and I think his
and you'll destroy the presidency as much as Trump.
Incredibly successful under President Trump.
So we got to get behind him because to not, you might as well take him out of power because you'll destroy his credibility.
And I'm willing to give him a little time here too, because the latest phase in the Iranian-U.S. war, which I would say has been going on for 47 years,
right,
is only 3 months going on now.
It's a long time, but it is 3 months only.
It's just not that much time yet.
Now, just this morning, the Israeli Defense Forces have already intercepted aerial targets, target launched from Yemen. Now, Yemen doesn't seem to have very powerful weapons or ones they worry about too much. In fact, a lot of them don't even make it. Why?
Well,
I don't know who's making their stuff, or do they get hand-me-downs from someone else that doesn't work well?
I think that most of their weaponry has probably come from Iran.
But Iran seems to work.
Well,
more effective.
We have degraded a huge amount of the Yemen military system.
Yeah,
I think we've hit them harder. Yeah, maybe. I mean, they're a much smaller area, much smaller. So we may have hit them harder than we've hit Iran. And Iran is just huge. It's a big place. It's about twice the size of Texas.
A little more than twice, like 2.5 times.
And they got 90 million people.
Yeah.
And they've been in power for 47 years, and they've expended
many
billions of dollars on their weaponry. So it's just a bigger place to take care of. And I think we have degraded them significantly.
They were expecting attacks because they know they're going to attack others. So you always have to expect it.
And they've been
buried it.
Willing to allow their infrastructure to degrade because they're spending all the money on weaponry.
Yeah.
I mean, at least to a significant amount. I mean, I'm not there, but from what I have read, it appears to me that their population is suffering tremendously. But I saw on Tusi TV, to give it credit, there were quite a few large demonstrations in a large number of Iranian cities against the regime.
You're not seeing that on mainstream.
No.
But he has connections. His family lives there. His dad lives there, and he's getting some tape out and stuff.
Yeah, he gets some stuff out, probably through Starlink, maybe other channels. I mean, if he's very wise not to say exactly how he's getting.
And he does not live in country. He's in UK somewhere. And
right.
He's staying hidden because
they've directly threatened him.
Yeah, they have.
I think they put a fatwa out on
him. But anyway, Houthis are gearing up again, and they have already said they would target in the Red Sea any ship linked to Israel. Whether it's their ship or linked to Israel, they're going to attack it.
The link might be, there's a Jew on the board of the company,
or it's carrying something that's going to be sold to them or something. But who knows where it's going to go? And they want to be part of it, or Iran wants to be part of it. They're a proxy for Iran. The UN chief is calling for de-escalation after Israel-Iran strikes, and Israel did go back into Iran in the last couple of days, and they went out and took out a big chemical plant. Apparently, the chemical plant,
petrochemical plant, as I recall.
Yeah, it supplies a lot of the fuel for these rockets that they're shipping, these missiles and ballistic missiles.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got Sandy. I turned the phone back on. Sandy figured it out.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something real quick.
Yeah.
I got to be careful because I'm doing stuff outside.
Okay.
That's why I had to shut down the phone for a little bit. But I think they should start with the registrars, like in state of California, maybe Arizona too. And you get a warrant for who the electronic that shows the names and addresses of the people that they mailed ballots to.
Yeah.
And then you go and invest, you use somebody like Doge who could take that electronic listing and could arrange it in different categories, like maybe by addresses, maybe comparing it with Google Earth to see if there's even any physical location. And what you do is you work on proving fraud and use that to go after the registrars.
That won't work in
So
California.
what do you guys think?
That won't work in California because California, yeah, you can live under a bridge and vote. In fact, many people
you
do.
can do that
You can
across
do
the
anywhere,
country,
but,
Russ.
yeah.
There are people
So many
that are-
people don't list addresses now.
Well,
How are you going to find them?
And remember, California has the largest number of homeless people in the nation. Almost a third of all the nation's homeless.
I wonder what percentage voted that are
Good
homeless.
question.
Probably 110%.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm
And then you're saying they couldn't find these individuals, so there'd be
Nope.
no way of proving.
Nope.
I'm saying under California law, it would be really hard to convict anybody. Now, for federal elections, if we get something like the SAVE Act passed, then you have a handle on it.
I think
that
you
could
need.
use.
Yeah. Don't you need an ID for federal elections anyway?
No, I don't think so.
I thought so. I don't know. Okay.
Well, they'll separate out the different, maybe do the different ballots, but I don't know. With Doge, maybe there would be a way to work it out. And maybe if it's,
I think
maybe if
you're
those areas,
Yeah, there are ways. I
maybe
don't know
if
what it
those
is.
areas,
I
go
think
ahead.
yes, I think sophisticated data analysis might give us some handles to use. I don't know exactly how, but it's possible. I mean, when you find out that there are 1,000 people voting out of a church as their home address, you could look at that. I mean, one of the things I would do if I were an investigator, I'd go to the church and say, do you know all these people? Do they get mail here? And then you talk to the individuals and you say, well, did you register to vote? Did you vote? You could get some information that might be useful that way.
Right. We just have to, let go on the worry about the homeless people. And I would focus on things like that, focus on, like apartment buildings where it goes to and that person hasn't lived there in 10 years. And, I think that we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
And maybe they already are.
I agree. But I think the first thing we need to do is the Voter Act in the federal government, because there is no, and I just checked it, and you do not need an ID to vote in a federal election. You don't. We do in the state of
In
Arizona.
California.
In the whole country, you don't.
Yeah.
For federal, it's not a federal law. There are state laws that require ID,
Right.
but there's no federal law.
And
And
there's
that's
al-
what the SAVE Act would do. It would say you need to be able to prove you're a citizen to vote in a federal election.
There's only 36 states that require or request some form of ID at the polls.
Okay.
That's it,
Right.
which is ridiculous.
Well,
Well, it used to be that elections were
always
very
keep
local.
in mind that I try to keep looking for ways and means.
Well, there are
And
ways
then
and
if
means,
you
but
guys knock it down, that's okay.
No, but we need-
I'm still for the
we need some legislation. We agree with you, but we need to have some legislation.
I think
Okay,
I
and I
think
agree
you
with
got good
that.
ideas, and there are a lot of people that are working out ways to implement those ideas.
Gilbert thinks we need a thumbprint.
well,
They do that in some
people
countries.
that are really good at analyzing could give us not just information. It could show factually that, because to me that's the starting point right there.
Yeah.
The person that's sending out the ballots, and then the ending is really bad too. It's the people that are counting the ballots.
Right.
But if you could stop that, and that's what the SAVE Act, I think, wants to do. It doesn't want ballots just going anywhere, nilly-willy, so,
Chain of custody. That's the
Right.
way it used to be.
Yeah, it did.
right.
Frankly, I think that California is going to be one of the last places we fix. And I think
Probably.
Florida shows that it can be done. And we've got states that are kind of like wishy-washy, that are maybe Wisconsin, or or maybe New Hampshire or Maine, that there could be some reforms done where they're kind of purple states, and we might be able to get reforms through.
Well, we have to have the leaders that are willing to do it. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're just the talkers.
I think a
I
lot
like
of the
talking, though. I'm good
population
at
is
that.
there.
But that's where it starts, Sandy. That's where it starts.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it was an idea. I'm watering.
Thank you, ma'am. Keep those plants healthy.
I came up with that by watering plants.
Yeah, very good.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. That's Miss Sandy.
And I think the population, I think if you look at the polling, people want fair and clearly free elections. You know, they want to be able to know that their vote is not canceled out by somebody who shouldn't be voting. They don't want fraud. It's become, and they're in favor of voting ID, you know, of it's certain politicians in certain states that are
Afraid they'd
don't want
lose.
Yeah, well, I think that's it.
Getting back to the Iran stuff, the UN chief calls for de-escalation. Antonio Guterres, he's called for de-escalation in the Middle East, and the spokesperson for him says the Secretary General is deeply alarmed by renewed escalation in the Middle East. He calls for all concerned parties to immediately stop attacks, exercise maximum restraint, and refrain from any action that would further inflame an already volatile situation, which the biggest culprit is Iran themselves doing it, but they seem to accept it.
I don't know how you further inflame beyond what's already there.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that Trump doesn't act inflamed, but
Right.
he hasn't. Now, he reiterated, and this is Guterres, no military solution to the conflict in the Middle East. The only way forward is through dialogue and negotiations. And I keep hearing that, well, there is no military solution. Military solution won't fix it. We've done 47 years without a military solution.
Exactly.
We've done 47 years of dialogue and negotiations, which has been just crap. And the Iranians lie and whatever, lie. And they say military solution won't work. Military solution won't work. Well, why don't we try it?
Well, first off, President Trump initiated a military solution in part anyway, and it showed that the U.S. military and our technology is so overwhelmingly dominant over the Iranians that it shows we can effect a military solution. The question is, will we be allowed to do so?
Yes, we are. We are allowed to. I mean, no one's going to stop us except our own Congress.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But we haven't really done a military solution on these guys. I mean, we did 10 days of it and brought them to their knees, but it's totally different for Iran than it is, for Venezuela. Venezuela saw what we could do and they said, okay, we've had enough. We want to work. We want to live.
Right.
Iranians don't care.
Well,
they have a different ideology.
15 or 20% of the Iranian population that is fanatical and supports the theocracy. Yeah, you're right. Well, what you do in that, and Trump is trying to prevent this, is you just keep destroying and killing them until you've eliminated them.
He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it. And we could easily take out the infrastructure. That's an easy target. It doesn't move.
But then the whole population suffers. And
absolutely. And he doesn't want it. But he may not have a choice.
Well, we have these demonstrations going on in Iran. Tusi TV said they're going on right now. And the theocracy is not putting them down. Well, that says something. And once the people see that you go out in the street and demonstrate and you don't get killed, you'll get more of it.
Right.
And eventually something has to give.
I think that's what Trump's holding out for. He's waiting for that to give, and it just hasn't.
Right. And frankly, with the way we dominate and have air supremacy over Iran, if you get an IRGC, troops that are shooting at protesters, well, some drone takes them out.
I would like to see that.
And I've heard of that type of thing happening.
I haven't heard of it.
I don't know how much it's happening.
Yeah. I have no problem with taking out the 15% that are determined to die versus give up.
They've been chanting death to America for 47 years.
Yeah.
So, I take that seriously.
Right. So I would ask United Nations Secretary General, how can we have dialogue with somebody that every morning wakes up, says death to America, death to America? What kind of negotiations do we do? Half death?
Yeah. Well, not
Yeah.
today.
Uh,
We're going to delay it for a month.
yeah. I mean, what is the negotiation really? What do we do?
Yeah.
And I think what, UN and others are looking for, well, let's just have peace today and then we'll worry about it tomorrow. And that's what Trump says, no,
Right.
we're not going to do that. That's what Obama did.
And frankly, the military solution is what we did with the Barbary pirates in the early 1800s. And apparently they were more rational, because when we bombarded their cities and threatened to destroy their cities,
You say more
they
rational.
said, "Oh, well, we'll negotiate."
I think we were more aggressive too, didn't we? I mean, we took out some cities, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We
Well,
didn't completely destroy them,
Right.
but
But-
the people who were in charge of those cities, the city states, like
But we attacked more military targets back then, and right now we're attacking just military
right,
targets.
and they said, "Oh, I'm going to lose everything," and they agreed to negotiate.
Wait a minute, Mike called back. He hasn't finished with us.
Oh, okay.
Good morning, Mike.
Boy, that Mike guy's a nut.
That's what I read.
Somebody said that.
What's up?
Hey, listen, we have to keep destroying the narrative of the Democrats. When you speak of Iran, you have to differentiate between the Iranian people and the mullahs.
Yeah,
Probably.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. So when people say Iran, no, it's the mullahs in Iran.
Well, and not only that, there are several factions within Iran. It's a fragmented regime. They don't have good central control.
But they're calling the shots. They're the ones that release the missiles.
To an extent.
Yeah.
We don't know how much.
Yeah.
But I think that is something that needs to be identified. That people say Iran when you should say mullahs. And it's the mullahs that have been saying death to America. The Iranian people, they want to be separated from the mullahs.
They do, but keep in mind that the schools are all doing it and stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a majority of the
majority of people are saying it because they have to.
It's like, if you were in Russia and you said capitalism is good, well, you didn't live that long.
There's a lot of Russians, there's a lot of Chinese, there's a lot of Czechs that went through those school systems. They knew it was baloney.
Oh, absolutely.
Probably. And that's the hope. That is the hope. Yeah.
The thing about it is you had to agree, or your family got wiped out.
Right. Or you just didn't get a job, you didn't have any way to eat, you didn't get an apartment.
Re-education camps,
right.
All that stuff.
All that stuff.
So I think right now, as more and more Trump gets rid of the mullahs don't have the same leash on the people, and the people will start to do their own.
At the end of the day, it's going to take them, because Trump doesn't want to invade. He doesn't want to kill people. He wants the Iranians to take over from the mullahs. Correct. That's what he's holding that for.
That is what needs to be differentiated when you're talking about Iran. And you got Hannity, you got O'Reilly, you got Bongino, you got Beck. They talk about Iran when you should separate Iran and the mullahs, because the problem is the mullahs. In Mexico, the problem is the cartels. In Venezuela, the problem was with the cartels again. So it's that narrative needs to be corrected.
I agree.
I think.
I appreciate it, Mike.
All right.
Thank you, sir. He called back and he didn't want the death penalty for anybody.
Well, he already made that point.
He did. That's a good point.
Mike is a thoughtful guy,
I think he is. He can be aggressive, but that's okay.
He's passionate.
Yeah, he is passionate. Let me see. A prosecutor who sought Netanyahu's arrest warrant is now in trouble himself. The International Criminal Court, where is the international? What is an International Criminal Court? Apparently there is one. There's a chief prosecutor, Karim Khan. He's been asking for Netanyahu to be arrested on misconduct, war crimes, all
trying to
kinds of
claim
stuff.
genocide,
all that kind of stuff. Well, now he's been suspended as of Monday on an investigation into allegedly of sexual misconduct. And it was misconduct after an investigation into accusations that he engaged in non-consensual sexual interactions with a lawyer in his office. What?
Okay.
That's we call that rape in this country.
Yeah.
In his office. I think that's a bad move politically.
You know, it's yeah.
I don't think that's
it
good.
is. Where's his office?
I don't know. I don't know where the International Criminal Court is court.
Yeah, I
don't know
I
where
would
that
have
is.
thought maybe in Europe somewhere,
Yeah.
but I don't know for sure.
But that's kind of funny. I mean, I bet Netanyahu's reading this with a smile this morning. Just,
Well, I perhaps. I mean, I'm wondering who the lawyer is and what was going on.
but he wants to. He has warrants out for Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant over the war in Gaza.
Right.
And he's also denying his allegations of sexual misconduct. Yeah, of non-consensual sexual misconduct. So right now, 125 member states of the ICC. I don't even know if the United States is a member of that, are we?
I think we withdrew from it. I
125
thought
member
that
states are expected to vote on whether to remove him from office. Wow, 125 states get involved in that. That's got to be a real cluster. I mean,
well, who counts the votes? I guess
I don't know. Don't vote in California, or we'll just get. Who knows what you'll get. Ann Bayfree, she's a president of Human Rights Voices. I don't know what that is either. Says the astounding story of the world's International Criminal Court and its lead prosecutor, headed by an alleged criminal and rapist, is not just about one rotten apple. Khan has taken the credibility of the whole shameful ICC apparatus down with them. It's time to hold the whole dangerous operation to account. So she thinks that it needs to go away.
Well, I believe we are not a signatory to the treaty creating the International Criminal Court. And I also believe that Russia is not a signatory, and I believe China is not a signatory.
Well, apparently it is in The Hague in the Netherlands, and that would make sense.
Yeah.
And that's according to one of my listeners that I think I trust his research.
So a majority, probably a majority of close to a majority of the people on Earth are not signatories to this court.
Yeah, but maybe the other 125 will start wondering whether they should be.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of power they have anyway. They don't have a police force, do they?
What I recall is nations that are signatories to the treaty that created the court will sometimes arrest people that are.
So if Netanyahu goes to one of those 125 states, there's a chance he might be arrested.
There's a chance he'd be arrested. Yeah, I think that's exactly the way they enforce it.
Wow. Vance's warning warns the U.S. that we won't assume Iran is acting in good faith in any deal.
Well, that makes sense.
That's stating the obvious.
Yeah.
Vance says that the president's attitude on this is we have to verify. Of course, one of the most important things is determining whether this ultimate settlement is a success is not what the Iranians write on paper, but whether they actually comply with some of the requirements of the settlement that they came up with.
Exactly.
And he mentioned the Obama deal. So then what went wrong with it? And they know.
Well, yeah.
That it had no teeth at all. And
right.
Because they signed it. Obama gave him a bunch of money. He patted himself on the back, went home, and they did whatever the hell they wanted to.
In my opinion, the Obama deal was designed so that Iran could get a nuclear weapon.
After he was out of office.
Well, yeah, it took a while.
Had a pause on it.
Right.
Yeah. There was not proper inspection regime to ensure that the Iranians could ever build a nuclear weapon. I think there was some expectation, but they just said, no, we're not letting you. Some nuclear commission or something to come in and Iranians.
Yeah, there were probably some paper requirements that had no enforcement mechanism.
Right. So nobody did anything. Administration would approach any agreement with skepticism and prioritize monitoring, assuming we're ultimately able to make a deal. I don't assume that anybody is acting in good faith. We're going to take the attitude of accomplishing the president's mission, but verify over the long term that the Iranians are keeping their end of the bargain. It's a tall order, but it's one the president has put us in a good position to achieve. Because let's be honest, the Iranians don't want this war to continue. I think they're coming to the table, putting some real things on the table. We're, of course, going to verify it. But if we get the deal, it's going to be a home run for the American people. I think it's a long shot. I think the Iranians are just playing a game, doing a dance.
Well, I don't think the Iranians are a unified force. That I don't think there's an effective central government in Iran.
Right.
And so one of the very first things you have a problem with is who is signing this deal and what power do they have in Iran?
Right. And how much power will they have in 2 years or 1 year?
Right.
Like that guy's gone. We're not doing anything he signed.
Right. I mean, we've already seen that with some cases. Well, somebody says, we can agree to this. And then somebody else says, no, he doesn't have authority to do that.
You know who did that
And somebody else says, we don't accept that. We're going to start shooting right now.
Putin signed a deal with Iran that they would protect each other, take care of each other. I don't know what the whole deal was, but when the Iranians were attacked, Putin dumped the deal, saying that the Ayatollah I signed it with is now gone, so it's not valid.
Yeah.
So I guess he made a deal with one person and not with a country.
Well, that person was the person who claimed to have ultimate authority over all the legal aspects of Iranian governments.
Well, same with the president or something in our country, and we're supposed to just continue. But of course, we signed a deal with Ukraine when they gave up nuclear weapons that we would protect them, as Russia had signed a deal that they would protect them, and both countries lied.
Well, yes, but I mean, I looked at that, and there's caveats in the deal.
Well, I need to do something without a caveat then.
Yeah.
Let's take a phone call. You're on the air.
Morning, Russ. How are you doing?
We're doing well, Ted. Good morning.
This is the party of Queen Anne's lace.
Yeah.
I need all the listeners to call the speaker's office in D.C.
Okay.
Complain about Sanders and the rest of them. I'm trying to get them to call them out on the House floor for being quislings to the United States. They're going after our commander in chief, and they need to call us in. I've already made my calls this morning to the speaker's office. They need to call us in and complain to them about Sanders and the rest of them being quislings.
What is Sanders doing?
You know what they're doing? Nazis, this, that, all of them trying to destroy the country by using terms that they shouldn't even need to. He hasn't even been to Arlington Cemetery. I got 7 family members buried in Arlington Cemetery, and that scum from up north won't even go over there and do anything for us.
Oh, Sanders won't? Oh, okay.
None of them will. None of them will.
But I don't think he's the worst offender. I mean, I think Hakeem Jeffries even.
AOC.
He's the leader. Sanders is the leader. He's a quisling to his own people.
He's an independent, man. He's not even a Democrat.
He is a quisling to his own people,
yeah,
his own countrymen. Him, all of them are. Jeffries, Sanders, and the speaker needs to know, and he needs people calling into the office. I've already spoke to them, and they said, please get your people to call in.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. The speaker's office.
Wow. Okay.
They're there. They're there. They're answering the phone. Our representatives here in Arizona won't even answer their phones.
And you're calling them to tell them that you need to put a stop to the rhetoric about Trump from the Democrats?
I'd like to see them get charged with what the Constitution will allow it to be done.
What would they
but
allow?
They won't. Insurrection.
Well, yeah, there are
rhetoric. It is causing rhetoric. The same thing they did in Europe and all the going after their own kind.
Okay.
Just they're quislings, man.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think they're trying to destroy Trump, and they're destroying the presidency. They're destroying the republic by doing that. It's
like I said, Trump ain't going to be there forever.
No,
you know what I mean.
No.
And all these goofballs in the political circles, think that they could do this. No. Once he's gone, they're going to have a heck of a time. So they better fix this while we're in power right now.
Yeah. All right, buddy. You got the message
all right,
out.
You guys
appreciate you. Thanks.
All right, you call the speaker's office.
Do you have the number you
Mike
want to
Johnson.
Already? Yeah. 202. Oh man.
202.
225 4000, I think.
It's 4,000. I just forget the exchange.
That
225,
sounds
I
right
think.
to me.
I'll double check it. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Like I say, none of our representatives will answer their phones. They've got them on record, just recording. But everybody else that I call on the Republican side, their phones are working. Oh yeah.
So you called
their phones- they
Gozar,
answer 'em.
you know,
I call Burchett
Burchett.
in the
Okay.
speaker's office,
All right.
and I use those two offices for my word to get out to them.
Okay.
And they better stand up to them.
Yeah,
They
it's
better
been
stand up, protect my mother, my brother, and the rest of my family that's buried in Arlington Cemetery. They better stand up to them.
appreciate the call, buddy. Take care.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
have a good day.
I had to look Quisling up because I wasn't sure exact definition.
Oh, it's from Norway.
Is a traitor or collaborator who aids an accompanying enemy force, often by serving in a puppet government during wartime.
Right.
I don't know if we're at war. Maybe we are.
In World War II.
Yeah.
I think he was the Norwegian
It's a-
government under the Nazis.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it said here 1940, and it said that the word quickly entered the English language as a direct synonym for traitor.
Yeah.
Due to the intense infamy of his
So
actions.
if you get a chance, take a look at that number and see if it's correct.
It's originated from Vidkun Quisling,
Right.
a Norwegian military officer and politician, and he was actively invading Norway. When Nazi Germany was actively invading, Quisling went on the radio to announce a coup, declaring himself as the head of the new Nazi-friendly puppet
Right.
government.
Right.
I didn't know any of that. That's why it's a Quisling. They use him like a Benedict Arnold.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
type
kind of
stuff.
similar.
Yeah.
Only Benedict Arnold fled the country when he was accused of
I mean, eventually, I mean, he was in the country for a while, and Washington kept trying to find him, unsuccessfully.
yeah, and he fled.
Yeah, he got out.
And he was paid, it turns out, by the British, and I don't know what. I think he fled to England. I think he
Yeah.
successfully.
That's what I
escaped
remember
to
reading.
England.
Anyway, it went back to England, where he was in good standings in England.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know.
Well,
Which I don't know why. I mean, first he was with.
Well, he was a very successful revolutionary commander during the Revolutionary War.
Yeah, but
He thought that he was not given as much credit as
Correct.
he should have been.
yeah, he had like an ego, and you're not giving me what I'm due, so I'm just going to go back to
Right.
the other side.
And-
But the other side accepted him, and sometimes when you accept a traitor, you get a traitor. You
Well,
never know.
you know,
Yeah.
well, that's right. But now, when you have it was sort of a civil war in the sense that the American colonies were loyal subjects of the King of England at the time of the Revolutionary War, and then we declared independence. And actually, the revolution was well underway by then. And the Continental Congress said, it's already happening. We need to tell people why it's happening.
Yeah.
And then you have the Declaration of Independence. And so Benedict Arnold could say, well, I was a loyal subject of the king, and then I joined the revolution, but I realized they were wrong, and now I'm a loyal subject of the king. Again.
Yeah. Sometimes I think that would get your head separated.
Oh,
but
yeah. Well, I mean, it's
but he didn't.
anybody in power looks at somebody who betrayed somebody else and says, can I trust him?
Yeah. I'm sure you can trust him.
For certain things, maybe.
Yeah. Send him back to England. Keep him out of the United States.
So
that's good.
I as my understanding is that he lived a fairly long life in England, and
Yeah.
so
And
it didn't work out for him because he's a very ambitious guy. I don't think he achieved much of ambition in England.
yeah, he was not going to go up the ranks after
No,
that. I
but he
wouldn't
did
think.
survive, and he
Well,
wasn't.
surviving's good,
It's an important thing.
but I think he would have survived the United States.
Well, if he hadn't done the
Yeah, because he was
if he hadn't
apparently
been a
very
traitor,
helpful.
right.
Right, but he wanted more. I guess he wanted Washington.
Well, he thought that he was being mistreated and he couldn't get a fair shake. I mean, this is real common amongst ambitious people.
Yeah. Trump has predicted total victory over Iran, which sounds very Trumpian.
It does.
He said, and it was in a tele-rally Monday, which I guess that's a lot easier for the Secret Service if it's on a telephone.
Sure.
The United States would achieve total victory over Iran within 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks as of yesterday.
It's interesting.
So
I
2
wonder
weeks.
why he's picking that number.
I don't know.
You know, Trump is.
That's kind of dangerous.
It is in a way, but maybe he knows things we don't. I don't know.
He's predicting or this correspondent Libby Dean says Trump predicted a swift end to the conflict, telling supporters, "You're really going to win it over the next 2 weeks. When we declare total victory, it will be total victory, and it will happen very soon." Now, I heard him on the news saying, "Well, we're going to know within the next couple days exactly if that's."
That's really interesting.
Well, I think it would make everyone take a sigh of relief if it was all
Well, yes, I
true.
think so. I mean,
But
to me, victory looks like the
what's it
Strait
look
of
like?
Hormuz is open to commercial
For
traffic.
everybody. The dust, the Iranian dust is procured. I mean, that's a Trump requirement.
And the Iranians are not shooting missiles at anybody or funding
Right.
their cat's paws of the Hamas or the Houthis or Hezbollah.
And they could start, becoming part of the culture of industry and becoming wealthy instead of becoming fighters.
They could, but I don't think that's necessary for victory.
No, that would just be
that would be icing on the cake.
But that would be something like Germany or something like Japan.
Right. I mean, right. If they would stop chanting "Death to America,"
that'd be a good start.
And then maybe we could help them. They've been the people of that country have been terribly neglected, and the infrastructure terribly neglected, and they need to rebuild. That's one of the reasons President Trump has been so reluctant to destroy the infrastructure.
Yeah. So he's got that. As Vance talks about the differences with Netanyahu, because there's been quite a bit of everything from Trump being accused of being in the pocket. You just do whatever Netanyahu wants. You're his puppet.
Yeah, it's hard to know how much of this is political theater, how much is real disagreement. I don't know.
But regardless, they're saying there's potential, there's tensions between Netanyahu and with the Trump, and you've heard of times when a strike starts to Iran with at least there was one where planes were in the air, and he calls Netanyahu and says pull them back, and they do. And that's a cooperation. I don't know if that's commanding. But the Israelis, the United States, we have a lot of shared interests, according to Vance.
I think that's true.
But we also have some situations where our interests diverge.
Right.
And I think where the president has been very clear here is that while Israel obviously has some objectives that it has, the United States' main objective is Iran is to ensure that Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. Over the last year and a half, we've created the space necessary where the president believes, and I think he's right, that we can get a long-term settlement to Iran's nuclear issue. Now, Israel may like that. They may not like that. But fundamentally, we think this is the best interest of the United States. Washington will continue pursuing that goal because that's what the president of the United States was elected to do. Now, Trump has come out and said before, Netanyahu does what I tell him to.
Has he said that?
He has said that. Yeah. Which I thought, and I think that was in response to all the rumors out there that, well, United States only invaded and helped him because Netanyahu said you had to.
That Netanyahu commands Trump. I don't think it's a command situation either way.
No, I think they're both strong, and they need to be.
Right.
I mean, it's not an easy job.
Right.
You got to be strong. But I don't think there's got to be some tensions. There's some things I'm sure that Israel wants to do, like with Hezbollah right now.
Yeah,
why they're not getting funding from Iran and stuff. They probably want to go in and put it to bed.
Yeah, there were tensions between Roosevelt and Churchill too.
Yeah.
I think that clearly the Israelis don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon or nuclear capability either. And I think that is an agreement between the U.S. There might be disagreement on hitting other things. I don't know exactly. I mean, to the Israelis, Iran is a much closer existential threat than most people in the U.S. think about the Iranians. I personally think that Iran Iranian nuclear capability was an existential threat to the United States. And I think in the Trump administration, maybe Trump himself has said, well, are you willing to risk losing Los Angeles? Are you willing to risk losing San Francisco? How about Chicago? You know,
Well, I think all three of those destinations are not the ones you should have picked. For me to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I had to think about it.
I'm unwilling to lose Los Angeles
No.
or
No.
New York
No.
or Chicago.
No.
I'm not willing to lose Milwaukee or Atlanta for that matter.
Or Tampa.
Right.
All right, listeners said, shouldn't people be calling the Senate leadership, not Speaker of the House? Sanders is a senator. He's like, yeah, Bernie's a senator. I'm assuming he's talking about Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is a funny question. He says, why would stable genius, meaning Trump, claim total victory in 14 days? He claimed something similar in the beginning, and today is the 102nd day of the war. Trumpian embellishments, maybe?
He just has this
Yeah.
the way he talks is
Yeah.
always in hyperbole.
Yeah.
I mean, and
But I think he's serious about the 2 weeks. I mean, I think it's
I suspect so. It's so close, and it's
but he kind of handicapped it and said, well, we'll know more in the next few days.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
I personally I don't like the hyperbole, but it seems to work.
It seems to. Mike, how are you, sir?
Good. What number do you call in to get on the air?
You're on air right now.
Let me get off Facebook.
Get off of Facebook.
How you been, buddy?
I'm doing well. Long time no hear, man. It's kind of like I didn't have a radio show.
I know that's because the only way I can listen, I don't do Twitter, so the only way I can listen is on Facebook, which means I have to keep the screen open. I wasn't watching Facebook. I was just listening to you
Yeah.
with Facebook open, because if screensaver kicks on or
I know.
blah, 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 I go to do a DoorDash, I lose you.
Well, we're in the
So
process of fixing that.
Oh, cool.
We are going
Radio
to
again?
We are going to be back on the radio again. I can't give you a date, but
That's good.
there's a lot of people working on it, and it's going to happen. And when I can, I'll give you all a date.
Nice. I've been waiting.
All right.
I miss you. I miss chatting with you. And
Oh,
the one day I come into your day job
yeah.
to bring a car, you're off gallivanting around in Phoenix or some such.
Yeah, my brother sold his truck. You know, he's an independent truck driver. He sold his truck and went to work for the company. He got to where he didn't want that responsibility. So he said, well, could you come to Phoenix and pick me up? You know, which is it's a big round trip, but I did it. I picked him up. I took care of him.
Did Chris or anyone tell you hello for me like I asked them to?
No.
Of course not. They don't know who I am.
Chris isn't going to tell me anything positive. He says,
Oh, man. I won't badmouth it, but I had to go through 3 cups of coffee there with your little machine before I finally got one I could drink.
Oh, really? I like
Apparently-
that little machine.
yeah.
Really?
I know, but apparently no one else has used the half and half creamer that's been sitting there for over a year, I imagine.
Well, that'll teach you.
Oh my!
And the first time I didn't realize that's what it was. I thought it was one of the flavored ones, but no. So I had to dump out 2, and finally the third one worked.
I'm glad you lived and didn't get terribly ill.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, I just poured 2 cups directly. I had to waste all the the little Keurig cup or whatever, pour it out in the sink.
That's how we learn. Yeah. Hopefully we'll refresh that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. No one else apparently seems to care about half and half.
No, I don't drink it. But I've driven by your shop a few times. I didn't have time to stop. I wanted to stop and say hello. You know, out in the foothills, I drove by the car shop, but you know, I've been taking grandkids back and forth. But I need to stop by. But I'm glad you called, because I'd like to get back to where we have the local radio signal, and that is coming. I just don't know the date. As soon as I get it, I'll let you all know.
Cool. That's just I have all been. I don't go into town much. I try to avoid the miles.
Sure.
But, and when I do, I'm usually not going down Arizona Avenue. And this time we had a car. We needed a customer who wanted to have it looked at.
Mhm.
and we refuse to let our cars go to a mechanic. We always invite mechanics into our shop. We have a lift. We have everything you need to look at a car. Bring your own mechanic.
Right.
But no, this lady would not take no for an answer. She wanted Chris to look at it at
Well,
his shop.
And I think
So
I think that's the right thing to do. And we tell people to bring them into us before you buy, because I see so many bad things, and not from your shop, but from other shops where they buy a car,
But
they
that's
bring
a-
it in to have Chris after they've signed the paperwork, and it's a junk. It's
Oh, it's
junk.
a
It's
nightmare.
it's going to cost more
Yeah,
to fix it than what it's worth.
Absolutely. I understand the service. The problem is I
Time.
can't just let someone drive off with my car for an hour or two to take it, wherever.
Yeah.
And what it did is it cost me, well over an hour to babysit the dang car while it was looked at.
So
And
what-
it turned out it passed
Oh,
and
good.
she bought it.
Good.
So it was
Ah,
worth it,
it
but
w-
still
It's worth
took
it.
me off the floor.
Oh, you can't give a
couldn't sell it to anyone
customer.
else.
You wouldn't let a customer do that. Just take it and say, "I'll be back in a couple hours."
I personally would, but it's not our policy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, in a couple
Because
hours,
what-
they could be in Mexico.
But yeah, you
And
could be.
They could have gotten in an accident. We've had people on test drives get in accidents before, uninsured.
Oh.
So it's just a good policy. We have to, stay on with our
And-
vehicles.
And you don't
every now and
you don't carry like a
ahead.
garage keeper insurance where everybody's insured that drives a test drive.
I don't know what the owner charges. I just know that they
Yeah.
had one accident where the guy wasn't able to cover.
Wow.
And so
Wow.
maybe we did have insurance, but still, that's not the point.
No.
You're out
Okay.
driving around in our car. It's better that one of us is with you. Now, does that mean I get in every freaking car that goes out for a test drive? No. But I try to as much as possible.
I
That's my
drive.
time to talk.
I drive customers'
So-
cars all the time, but we're insured in case we did something. I mean, we would be insured on top of the customer's policy, but
Exactly.
yeah.
But are you insured if you give out a loaner car?
Yeah.
And
yeah, we are.
someone crashes it? Oh, good.
Oh,
You
yeah,
got good insurance, and
we-
maybe we do too.
But we're specific
know.
when we specifically ask for that, because we do have a couple loaner cars, and we do let them use those.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we're careful though,
But
man.
anyway.
I wouldn't give it to everybody.
No, I know. I'm Ramco, right?
Yeah, I'd give it to you if you needed it. But
I
you
I
know,
used to get loaner cars from Ramco when they were working on my Dodge transmission. They finally said,
from-
no more delivery drivers.
Oh,
They're
from-
wearing
from-
out our cars now.
from
We're
over
out your own car, and now you're wearing out our car.
Flash over there, huh? That's great. I like Team Ramco. We'd work with them a lot.
I did too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to go pick up a Mercedes from them probably today, and they just did a Toyota RAV4 for us. I
Yeah.
like them. I'm just saying that the loaner cars, they cut me off.
Oh man, I don't blame them. You've been
I don't
taking
either.
advantage of them and all that stuff.
No, I needed to work. I needed my car, and they were taking their sweet time to redo everything.
Yeah.
So
Well, tell Trish.
Anyway.
Tell Trish to figure it out. Give you a car, whatever. She'll figure it out. Trish
Oh, no,
runs
no,
the
no.
place.
They cut me off, and I understand why they did. But now, I have a day job, and I only do the gig work to keep myself busy when I'm awake early in the morning or on Sundays when we're not open
Right.
at the car store.
Keep doing you're still doing the Uber stuff in the spare time though, right?
Yeah, I just I do a lot of Walmart deliveries now too, because people tip good. I can
Walmart?
get 35. Yeah, I can get 35, 40 bucks in an hour delivering a couple groceries that I have to do the shopping for the customer and then drop them off.
Seriously.
Seriously.
Shows there's
And-
still room out there for ambitious people.
Absolutely. There's all kinds of stuff, but I really don't like driving the wheels off my car.
Well,
So
that's a big
I only
thing.
do it. And there's so many gig drivers that don't realize how costly it is to do the work they do. They just know, they're making money. They can't get a job elsewhere, whatever their excuse is. But yeah, gig work is really an abuse on the drivers. Driving our own vehicles, our own insurance, our own, maintenance and everything.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, it's expensive to drive your own car around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when you're putting a lot of miles on it, I don't know. I did it for 8-9 years before I got hired on to sell the cars. And that's how I supported my family, made my mortgage, made my car payments, took care of everything, just doing gig work.
And now you just do it for fun.
Some extra
I know a
cash.
little extra. There you go. It's Dean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
I can't keep track of you guys in and out of there. Well, when you get on the air again, I'll come down and sit with you.
I'll give you a
so
call.
we could chat. Sounds good.
Take care, bro. Bye-bye.
Good talking to you, buddy. Bye.
That's the first time he's called in since we've lost the station.
Oh,
I didn't even know he knew we were around, but whatever. And some people don't.
You know, he talks about the Ubers and gig work, and I've been following what's going on with cyber cabs and robotaxis and Waymo and all that, and that stuff is starting to take off. And I predict within 5 or 10 years that'll all be robotics. You know, the Uber will go to robotics, and I think even delivering stuff from Walmart and stuff, it may be all robotic.
Eventually put us all out of work, but I won't want to do it.
I don't
by
know if
then.
it'll put us all out of work, but I think that's an area where robotics are very likely to become prevalent.
Yeah. Gosh, I've got 7 minutes left, but on Iran, the Hezbollah, which is in Lebanon,
right,
it's still a big concern of Iran, and they want to make that perfectly clear that future attacks on Hezbollah and Lebanon could trigger direct Iranian retaliation, even if Iran itself is not targeted. And so my question is, okay, we know they're a proxy, we know all that, but why is Hezbollah such a big deal?
Well, because it's a theocracy. I mean, Iran is a theocracy, and part of their belief structure is that they are the ones promoting the Islamic true believers to strike back at the great Satan and the little Satan. And the great Satan is the United States, and the little Satan is Israel. And Hezbollah is part of their power structure to do that.
I don't think most everyone, and I didn't think that either. I mean, we know they're proxies, we know they pay them and all that, but they're looking at an attack on Hezbollah synonymous with attacking us.
Right.
Because
their claim is we are the true believers, the true leaders of Islam.
And we will die for them. I mean, in other words,
Yeah.
we don't care.
Right.
We could shove a missile, over our way, and we'll be gladly take it just to show that we're
because they have this apocalyptic vision. If we just believe strongly enough in Allah, Allah will protect us and we will prevail.
But they're also proxies for the Gaza Strip, and they didn't seem to be as ferocious because that Gaza thing went on for quite a while.
Yeah, that's a point. Why they favor Hezbollah over Gaza?
They must be
Hamas,
blood related or something.
I'm not certain. I think they're very much in favor of the Houthis.
Well, they didn't do much with the Houthis either when we were bombing them, because we bombed their hidden missile silos out of the mountains and stuff. They didn't seem as excited, but you touch Hezbollah, they get a little nuts.
I don't know. Maybe it's their last major proxy.
Well, and Lebanon now is kind of fed up with them.
Well, they are, and because Lebanon has been fed up with them for a long time, but they had enormous power.
But they have the guts now to say something.
Well,
I don't
and
know what they can do.
US, particularly Israeli, has destroyed so much of the Hezbollah infrastructure and leadership and military potential. So the other people in Lebanon, which is the vast majority of the population, don't have to fear them as much.
Well, in Lebanon, they're asking the Israelis to stop attacking and stuff like that. But I think that's just lip service. They must not mind it that much, because Hezbollah said they want to take over Lebanon.
Oh yeah, when they've been in effect the major power in Lebanon.
Yeah, they
for
are,
decades.
but they're not the political power.
Well, not the formal.
They're not
political.
sitting in the Capitol building. Anyway.
I think they have representatives that are very sympathetic to them there.
Yeah. Oh, probably, but there is a distinction still.
Yes.
And Lebanon has asked, I guess, some of the president of Lebanon has asked Hezbollah to leave.
Yes.
And Hezbollah said nope.
But that has only happened since power of Hezbollah has been seriously degraded by the Israelis.
Yeah, it's happened within the last 100 days.
Right.
Where Iran is having some struggles. and financial struggles and probably can't supply Hezbollah with everything.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know how they pay Hezbollah, what they use for currency,
don't
for
know.
example. I mean, the Iranian currency has depreciated enormously since the war
Oh, yeah.
started.
Yeah, there's
And
been some inflation.
yeah, a large amount. And that makes sense
Yeah.
because if you can't bring in income from selling oil or whatever, the classic response to that by a government is just print more money. But maybe the Hezbollah says, that Iranian money, we can't get enough of it to buy enough food to eat here. You got to pay us in something else, maybe some dollars, maybe gold. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I think that's probably a big problem for Iran.
But Trump sees this as a great opportunity to once and for all stop this whole proxy and everything. And that would be part of his deal, I'm sure.
Yes.
Is you got to stop paying proxies in other states.
Right. I mean, he wants to
Stop the hate.
to stop the ability of Iran to militarily strike people outside the borders of Iran.
But you see, the Ayatollahs can't agree to any of that because that's who they are. That's their.
I agree. That's but so what you do is you get somebody else in power in Iran. I mean, or maybe even Ayatollahs if they're willing to negotiate.
They're not yet.
Not yet.
Because they've been waking up every day, death to America, death to Israel. And that seems to be their number one.
I think probably, this is just a guess, is that Trump is saying 2 weeks because he has some intelligence saying that some other faction is coming to power in Iran. That would be my guess.
Yeah, we think so. I don't know how it's going to work out, but and according to Trump, we'll know within the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I would be happy with that if that's true.
2 weeks is 2 weeks.
Admiral Brad Cooper, the commander of the U.S. Central Command, has briefed the House Appropriations Defense Subcommittee yesterday about the U.S. military operation priorities across the Middle East, which I guess the Congress doesn't want to be ignored. They want to be engaged in all this.
Well, that's their prerogative.
Of course it is. According to CENTCOM, Cooper met with lawmakers in Washington and is scheduled to provide similar briefings to the Senate appropriation on Tuesday. And they're not telling us what it is, though. I guess that's up.
Well, I've often said that the truth is one of the first casualties of warfare, and facts are something that are very powerful that militaries like to keep control of.
He might have told them. I don't know. I don't think this was open. Maybe
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah,
and as somebody who's studied military, has been in the military, who there are secrets that need to be kept secret. Yeah. And it's both on a tactical and a strategic level. And one of the most important things that intelligence operatives in the militaries do is try to find out what's truth on the other side and to put out what we want put out on our side, which may or may not be entirely true.
Right. I'm sure it changes every day. What's true and not true can every day.
And when you have to, the more control over that's military power right there.
We're past time, but I want to read this one more comment from a listener. Don't Christians also have an apocalyptic vision of the future, the second coming? I think they believe a new temple will usher in the return of the Messiah. Unfortunately, the Dome of the Rock is in the way.
I think there are several different versions, probably at least 4 or 5, of what the book of Revelation means in general, and the apocalyptic vision and when it will happen and what has to happen beforehand. I have a very close friend of mine who has died in the last couple of years, who was heavily into studying of Revelation and figuring out what the apocalyptic vision would be. And he had at least 3 different theories that I knew in his lifetime that kind of contradicted each other.
Oh.
So I don't think there's one generally agreed upon theory.
There is an apocalyptic prediction in Revelation.
There's several. There's a whole bunch of them.
But the difference between the Christian and the Muslim is we're not trying to push it or figure out the date. Well, some people do.
Well, some people try to figure out the date. Some people may want to push it.
But I don't know of any Christian that's done that. But Muslims seem to have this jihad in order to create an apocalypse.
Well, particularly the Iranian theocracy has been big on it. in the last 40, 50 years, 47, I guess we could say. And it appears to me that it's a big difference between the Shia and the Sunni Muslim factions,
On
and
that.
the Shia are much more clear on a apocalyptic vision than the Sunni, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think Iran is ready for it right now. And the apocalyptic vision from Revelations includes Israel
It does.
being destroyed.
And it's, I'll tell you, I've read Revelations a couple times.
Yeah,
There's a lot of parable in there. There's a lot, not parable precisely. It's all, so much of it is stated. I saw this vision,
right.
and then this angel told me, well, this is that. So it's far from extremely clear. It's, you know,
It's cryptic.
It's cryptic.
Yeah.
It is not easy to know precisely. Now, people will disagree with me. They'll say, oh, well, this means this and this means that.
Yeah.
But I don't find it so easy to know.
And one thing it does state is it's not for us to know the dates.
That's right.
You know, that we won't know.
Very, very clear.
So just keep yourself prepared spiritually. So if it ever strikes, you're not, you know, you don't have a spiritual
and there's
question.
even disagreement about what it means. Some people think it's already happened. Much of all of the Revelation prophecies have already happened.
Or yeah, the lead up to it.
Well, and I mean, like the destruction of the temple, you know, they think that happened in 70 A.D.
Well, it did.
Yeah. And so they say that part has already happened, but other people say, oh, no, that's not right. So there's much disagreement. It's not clearly agreed to. And I think there's a huge disagreement between what the Roman Catholic Church teaches about it and what a lot of Protestants teach about it.
Well, we're way past time, but we'll continue this tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you for listening. Mortgage One Studios, Russ Clark.